It's been over a week since the release of Pirate Yakuza now, and like our guests today, I've had the opportunity to thoroughly play the game enough for all of us to sit down and talk about many of the contents of the game. Now, naturally, since this is a whole new game we're talking about, there's a lot to go through. We'll be talking about the story and the different aspects of it, and then we'll also try to talk as much as possible about the gameplay. Today, you'll be listening to 4 different perspectives on Pirate Yakuza, and I'm eager to see where our shared opinions and differences lie. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th episode of the RGG Cast, where we talk about all things Yakuza / Like a Dragon related. Grab a drink and join us as we indulge in excessive yapping about Pirate Yakuza. How are we all doing today? Pirate Yakuza aside for a bit. What have you guys been playing lately? Let's start with you, Snowiest.
Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know. Not much, really.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
What about you, Gokudoni?
Oof. For the most part, it's actually been revisiting some games that I haven't played in a while. I think the last new game that I played was Nier Replicant, and thank you, Yokotaro, I was emotionally destroyed. I loved it.
Hell yeah. What about you, Froob?
I've been doing a lot of Sleeping Dogs, obviously as part of like trying to get speedrun PBs and like do a submission video for GDQ. But I may have spent the last 12 hours playing Monster Hunter Wilds.
Nice. Have you guys seen the peak number of players that it reached? It's insane. Like, it surpassed Elden Ring and Cyberpunk as well.
1.3 was the highest number at the moment.
Something like that.
So.
Yeah. 1.3, for those who don't know, 1.3 million, not 1.3 people.
Yeah. One whole person and a third of a person. All right, well, so like, I guess we can just very briefly say, like, before we get into the actual, details of any of our opinions, if you guys had to, very quickly summarize, how would you say your Pirate Yakuza experience was like? Let's start with Snowiest.
It was fun. It was definitely fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping for a little bit more, but at the same time, it's not like a mainline entry or anything like that. So it was as fun as I guess I should have expected.
Right. What about you, Gokudoni?
It was literally everything that I wanted out of what I generally perceived would be like a brief summer adventure. I can easily see this being a game that I return to every single summer from now on. But yeah, the only real gripe that I had with it, which I'm sure we're going to go into pretty heavily later on, was the placement of side content. But other than that, because I haven't gone through New Game Plus yet, but other than that, easy 8 or 9 out of 10 experience for me.
Yeah. And what about you, Froob?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that's been said so far. It was a fun, enjoyable romp. Gameplay-wise, very much enjoyed it. Do think that padding is more of an egregious thing here than it was in Gaiden, but it does match up to quite a lot of what modern RGG kind of is at the moment. But other than that, yeah, really enjoyed. Also got very lucky because I know, I think a few people who are probably watching this have also probably had these problems. I'd seen a couple of people, because obviously, I think we've all probably heard that a couple of people have had problems with the game technically, like a lot of crashes and stuff like that. Which even RGG have said, on the PC version, they've actually said, "Hey, we're looking into this," which is at least nice that they've said that. But I've been very lucky not to have any crashes. I know somebody who crashed every 2 hours.
Oh, no.
So with how long the end was, they crashed in the final few movies, which sucks.
Yeah, I mean, that happened to me. Fortunately, there's a save point right before it.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that later, but I'm so glad they added a save point right before the final boss. I think
Yes.
yeah it's kind of handy.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting because Infinite Wealth added checkpoints in the middle of set pieces for the first time in the series, and they're not here. We're gonna get into it, but I feel like this game obviously was side developed, but it feels like there's a good couple of quality of life things that are just missing from the more recent games,
Dude,
especially Infinite Wealth.
you know what I just remembered? and this is like a very, very far-fetched kind of thing, but Lost Paradise, there was one long battle
Oh, no.
where there's actually a pause, and I think he can save. Do you guys remember? Before Souther.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the bit where you have to jump over the fire because unlike any RGG protagonist, Kenshiro knows how to jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Majima can jump in this game, but we're talking video game jump. Like, most characters can't jump over a knee-high fence, but Kenshiro is just like, fire, don't care, I'm out, peace.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was like the first maybe instance that I remember of them doing that, and then definitely like with games like Gaiden, they've been doing that more and more. But you could also say maybe Lost Judgment to an extent. But I think it's really mostly noticeable in the last stretch of Lost Judgment, like with the
Yes.
like stopping and investigating and all of that. Now, if I had to also like kind of give my 2 cents about the game, like in very short words or like a little amount of words, basically what you guys said. Like, you know, the premise itself, I think already kind of gives away that it's going to be pretty much what we got. Now, granted, the story, you know, some things could have been much better, as we'll soon talk about, you know, the story. But yeah, like gameplay-wise, I found it to be very, very fun. And I'm just so glad this has New Game Plus because that alone makes it very like replayable for me. The one thing that I just wish Gaiden had was a New Game Plus, because that would have made me revisit the game much more. So, when it comes to the story, we're gonna do a similar thing to what we just did, which is like try to give a very brief opinion on what we all thought about the story. So, Snowiest, what do you think? Just the story.
I thought it like because it was directed by a guy whose name I didn't recognize, but also, of course, Yokoyama's like the overall director still.
Mm-hmm.
But it really felt like it was made by a different team, and I feel like it's mostly in its humor.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many jokes, because like obviously they've always had humorous moments and plenty of jokes and whatever, but there are so many jokes that just feel like really different, and I really like that. And I also just really liked the sort of, you know, cheery nature of it all, and how it was all about the adventure, as Majima goes on about with Noah and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of jokes, a big one that I love was Noah says, "I'll even teach you how to make a fire. You just need," and he pulls out a match and some oil or whatever. Just stuff like that. I really liked it. It was definitely a fun story.
Yeah. What about you, Gokudoni?
Well, I think I'm probably one of the most, for lack of a better word, anal people when it comes to the stories of these games.
Mhm.
So a lot of people saw it as a shock that I actually enjoyed the story when I spoke up about it on Twitter. And to keep it brief, one of the main reasons why I appreciate the story so much is because from the very first trailer, you knew what type of experience this was going to be. A lot of people criticized it for lacking the emotional gut punch, when in reality, not every game, or rather not every story, needs to kick your emotions in the proverbial crotch to be a memorable experience.
Mm-hmm.
So from the trailer, I was like, this is gonna be fun, so let's see what they do with the premise. Kind of like Dead Souls, or maybe the PS2 era of the Yakuza series. I knew what standards to hold it to, and it exceeded my expectations. So yeah.
It's actually kind of interesting because, you know, lately we might have had like criticism about the formula, so to speak, of RGG games, right? But the fact that, you know, people might expect like gut-wrenching moments again and again is also like indicative of a formula that they're expecting, but now it's been defied in a way where it's really different. Yeah, like I was cooking something there, but I forgot what I was like trying to drive home. But anyway, what do you think? Huh?
Give it time. It's gonna come to you.
Yeah. We do have like a couple hours left, so we'll see. What do you think of the story, like in general, Froob?
I guess I should preface this with, obviously, like, for those of you who are still playing through the game, it shouldn't come as any surprise. We're gonna talk spoilery stuff.
Oh yes.
We might like interject one or two things here and there, because I might actually right now. So just if you're still playing, just beware, big plot spoilers. yeah, I went into it like expecting just a fun kind of romp. I wasn't expecting that much that was gonna like affect the giant like overall arc of like LAD games and where they're going, etc. I expected Majima's just on a boat killing people, having a good time. Like when we got the USK rating of 18 plus in Europe with the tagline "problematic role model," it's like, yeah, that guy's stabbing a dude. That's going to be the vibe of this game.
I don't think I saw that part.
At times. Yeah, no, I don't think it went quite that way. None of the other like Yakuza like Dragon games have had problematic role model as like a reasoning, but
that's such a funny rating.
Yeah,
it's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
I mean, by that logic, would we also put Zero and K2 into that category, or Dead Souls, because Majima, he has a knife.
Yeah, surprisingly not with the others. Just Pirate Yakuza, so Pirates.
Pirates
bad,
I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Leon was there when I was complaining about this during the end credits, whereas like I kind of wish this had like a bit of the emotional hook that like Gaiden had, because like especially like comparing it directly to Gaiden, where Gaiden is so much more personal because Kiryu, and like this is just it's your typical like amnesia plot of Majima's lost his memories. I do kind of like the way that they like had him get his memories back and also like reveal it. I twigged onto that during the cutscene. And it's like, oh yeah, it's happened, and it's like I kind of like that way that they did it. But like I was saying during the end credits, man, they didn't have any kind of emotional hook like kind of like Gaiden did, and then they do the fucking post-credits scene. How dare you?
That was so mean.
Yeah.
God damn it.
If I had to like also say something about like the story, just like in general, even though the story is like absurd in many ways, it still did a couple of things that I don't know if I expected it to do, and like without exaggeration, I really adore some of the things they've done. Again, the cutscene before the very last one, like I unironically love that so much.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea. It's so wholesome. Like, it's just amazing. I guess, now that all of that is out of the way, like, we'll try to follow, like, the sequence of the events in the story and see, like, what we think of what happens. So, we have the premise of, Majima, like, kind of being lost on this island. He lost his memories. We don't know what the heck happened. And, it's, like, the game's job to, like, or the story's job to try and tell us what exactly happened as we progress through the game. But the first thing that happens is basically Majima meets this boy called Noah, and then he meets his family as well, like his father Jason, his sister Moana, and it slowly just kind of, devolves into becoming this like strange pirate adventure. Let's talk about the first few characters that we meet. So we have like Noah, Jason, Moana. What do you guys, I guess, think of those set of characters? With Jason, for example, at first when they introduced him and he served water, I believe, to Majima, because the guy was dying. That was like an act of kindness. That was really nice to see. And then the next minute, like not too long after that, you see Jason trying to like beat Noah because he wasn't listening to him. So like there's a very like stark contrast there, but it's there for a reason. Majima intervenes, and there's this whole dynamic that starts happening between Majima, Noah, and Jason as well. That causes them to go on this pirate adventure. Now, as far as like the start of the story goes, is there anything in particular any of you would like to say? Like anything at all? I think the story started pretty well, actually, if I had to like give my opinion about it.
Well, I was going to say with Jason, that he does sort of start off as like a bit of a alcoholic, kind of given up on life guy.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't become like one of Majima's closest friends or something like that, but he does become like a good friend, and through their journey, he becomes like a way better person. Mm-hmm. And so that's like a nice, touching little thing to see happen to him. Agreed. Considering it's just a character like no one knows about, because he's only in this game.
Yeah.
But it's still nice.
Yeah, agreed. What about you, Gokudoni?
Honestly, the entire three-way dynamic between them was probably one of my favorite parts of the story. Because starting off with Jason, there is evidently the whole part of him being more friendly at the very, very beginning, but you are technically a customer, so, mocking someone or beating the shit out of him as soon as he enters your bar wouldn't really be a good rep for him.
Mhm.
And we can tell that as time passes, specifically in the first chapter, Jason becomes more and more unhinged, which I'd reckon it has more so to do with showing us a slow descent as a result of the alcoholism.
Yeah.
And then that whole part when he lashes out at Noah. Again, while it's more so there to give Majima a bit of development, getting into the more kind of caring uncle side of his character, or even paternal instinct of the character, which we can get into later. But it was more so there to show underlying tension of the family, because it's evident that they've been talking about leaving the island for a while, and it's still a sore subject for Jason and blah, blah, blah. I can see the value in it, even though it's kind of cut and paste with the way that it is presented in the first chapter. And with regards to Noah specifically, this is probably only me seeing it this way, but between him kind of being, I don't want to say a son figure, but definitely someone that Majima needs to take care of and show him what the world is like. It kind of, it drew a parallel to what Majima could have been as a dad had the whole thing with Park not turned out as it did, which that I thought was a nice way to elaborate on what the more caring side of Majima would be in this dynamic, because we don't see him taking care of Haruka that much, but he has that part of him. So yeah,
That's a fantastic point. I think I definitely see, like, man, like, you know, sometimes you think of what could have been, and like, yeah, it gets a little bit melancholic. I also wanted to say, actually, I'm gonna save it for until after Froob says his piece on this. So what do you think about like the beginning of this story, Froob?
Yeah, no, there's not much I can really add other than what's been said. It's kind of like your just general introduction, usual kind of affair. You have your like your normal antagonists that aren't the big bads that are just going to turn up every so often, which it was very funny because I after the first key fight, I think I said something like, yeah, no, we're going to see that guy multiple times, and it's like, yeah, we saw that guy multiple times. But it is interesting that, you know, Jason, as everyone else is saying, like, his kind of alcoholicness. I think I made a comment during my casual playthrough of, oh god, he's just like Ken Mochi. Oh no, please.
Oh god,
the alcohol
no.
down. Like, thank god he's not seeing ghosts. That's the only saving grace. But it's like clearly the guy had problems, and the game didn't need to like go into his problems, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, and this is something I like, it's all unfair when talking about like the early parts of the story. I think this game has good characters, but I don't necessarily think it fully fleshed them out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, as far as like as an opening goes, I think that was like a good introduction to them, their kind of, you know, motivations, and you know, obviously giving Majima a hook as to, you know, hey, Noah wants to see the world. Screw it, we're gonna do it in Majima fashion, even with his amnesia.
That actually does segue nicely into the question that I wanted to ask. Do you guys feel like the beginning was rushed?
Honestly, no. It almost felt like it dragged a bit longer than a classic Yakuza intro. Like, the more modern ones are obviously very, very long, between Judgment, Yakuza 7, Infinite Wealth. This felt like somewhere in between classic Yakuza and modern ones.
When, I think it was like the very first cutscene, if not like the second one maybe, when like bandits approach and they're about to hit Noah. And then, like, clearly you see Majima, like, having this internal conflict, like, oh, I feel like I should do something, but, like, you know, I don't know if I should do something, but this boy is about to get hurt, and I think I definitely should do something. Like, that was awesome, and, I don't know if I want to say I kind of wish we got more scenes like that, because, like, when you think about it, you didn't really see much of, like, the amnesia struggle, like, throughout the game. Like, you only saw that at the very, very beginning, like, the first few cutscenes. Now, of course, later on, he does mention a few times that he doesn't remember anything, so he can't really answer or talk about certain subjects. But yeah, I thought that first cutscene was done really well, at least. Just seeing, like, man, do you guys remember like how terrified he was in that first dynamic intro?
That was cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Now, should we dedicate a segment to our GOAT, Keith? Do we talk about the guy? Dude, I can't believe they've given us an enemy we fight more than Kuze.
Dear, how many times do we fight him? Because there's times where he doesn't have a boss level health gauge, and then somewhat of a mini boss health gauge, and then a proper boss one. Like, what the hell?
I think you fight him like 6 times, if I remember right. If my chat counted it correctly, at least.
I actually can't remember, but that also sounds correct. Like,
Yeah.
it's man. I think the one that summarizes like all of them for me is when you go back to bloody, I almost said Azaki Jincho, Honolulu, near the end for that canon. Like, this just summarizes the issues that I have with the game of just the second that we were sent back there, I think I said to my chat, we're going to fight Keith, aren't we? Like, at some point soon, he's coming back, and he's just standing there just like, oh, I got this cannon, mate, you ain't getting it. And it's just like, where does this bit exist? Why are we doing this? Why
Keith should have been like a secret super boss, I reckon.
Yes. Oh my god, yeah.
Super Keith.
It's Keith, but he just has more HP now.
Oh my god, no. I mean, that entire writing of him and also Jack the Collector, that feels like such a PS2 era thing for me, because I envisioned him as Sengoku, but then he appeared like 70,000 times in the story. It's like, yeah, I'm not supposed to care about this dude, he's just annoying me and I have to get rid of him.
Yeah, well, he rocks up and he's like, look at me, Majima, I'm your most important antagonist. And then Majima just punches him in the head and walks away.
Isn't there like one of the interactions where Majima is even like, I don't even remember you, or something like
yeah, literally.
Yeah, literally. So, yeah.
There was like 2 or 3 times where he was like, do you realize how many people I've, punched in the last few days? Do you know? And it's like, oh yeah, you're that guy. Like, genuinely surprised.
Yup.
I think, surprisingly, like they've done an amazing job with a lot of the Majima, like humor and kind of savageness in terms of like how he roasts like the antagonist in this game. He knows just the right thing to say at times, and I love that. Chapter 1 is actually pretty short. Like it was like what, 3 hours maybe for me on stream, maybe even less than that. Like it does not overstay its welcome at all. They do show you around in Rich Island a little bit, and I think Chapter 1 ends when you take control of the ship, right?
Yes, I think so.
Before you set out for Atlantis, I believe, right?
Yeah. It's like around that point. If it isn't like when you control the ship, it is around that point. Because I think the ship tutorial is in Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. So I think you are right.
Yeah, and then before... Yeah, sorry, go on.
Maybe it's because I'm currently getting all the footage that I have captured on my PS5 onto my laptop, and I've categorized some of it. I think the last major thing that happens in Chapter 1 is the fight with Jason, and then we go on the ship.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
I was gonna say, like, another character we meet that we didn't mention yet is Masaru. Now, Masaru is a very colorful character.
He caused COVID too. He ate
yes, the bat. I can't believe they did that. Did you hear how crunchy the bat was as well?
Yep.
Bro was going in. God damn.
The way he was eating it, mind you.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You end up fighting, Masaru before you actually start off in the ship, of course. And because Jack the Collector, prior to Masaru joining us, Masaru was working for Jack the Collector, this like random pirate who thinks he's a bigger deal than he really is. So once you beat him, Jack tries to use like Noah as a hostage, and that makes Masaru go, whoa, boss, like, would you really go that far? And then he joins our side. Despite the little time they had in Chapter 1, I feel like they gave Masaru a very, like, believable motivation to, join our crew. And seeing him, after Chapter 1 and how he interacts with Majima was also pretty interesting. But as far as Chapter 1 goes, is there anything else you guys want to say? Anything at all?
Actually, one bit. Or actually 2 bits. One's pretty short, but you know how you started this specific section by saying, what do we think about these 3 characters? And no one mentioned the daughter. I even forgot her name. It's not Naomi, it's
Moana.
Moana, yeah.
Literally no one.
Yeah,
she's just kind of there.
Yeah, she's just kind of there.
I don't know.
She's regularly just used as, hey, we need a convenient plot device, like the bit near the end of the game. Like, I will say, like, there's definitely an actual argument to be made that she is very underdeveloped as a character, and that there are a lot of underdeveloped as characters, because it's just like, I think Majima says to Saijima at one point, it's like, I know you're not gonna care about this kid because like you don't know him, it's not your problem, and it's kind of like the same with Moana, where it's just like, okay. It's like you obviously needed some kind of like emotional hook, and that's what's supposed to get Majima's emotional hook in, but like as a player, a character that's turned up twice in the game is just like, yeah, okay.
Do you guys think it could have worked? Yeah, do you think it could have worked if they had her join the crew and, I don't know, like close the bar or something?
A bit better, but I don't think it would have been fully like good even with that. It kind of... Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, it felt like they just added her because it would be kind of weird to leave the bar unattended, and then they were like, well, we need to connect this plot point to this one, because a lot of it felt like, well, the mom is never mentioned or whatever, we see her once maybe, and then all of the character development is given to the other daughter to an extent.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess we'll talk more about Moana as we go, because there's barely anything for her in Chapter 1, but after Chapter 1, we get the incredible Chapter 2 that I'm sure is gonna go down in Yakuza history as, like, just... How do you even describe this chapter? It's like, you're hit with a story chapter that's not really a story chapter, it's like a gameplay chapter disguised as a story chapter. You go in, I forget how it even starts. Do you even go to Hawaii at first, or do you go to Medlantis straight up?
Wait, I have the footage here. So, Chapter 2, we have a tutorial on boat sailing and deck battle, then we have the Jack the Collector, the second boss fight, and the Sea Dog tutorial, and then, oh dear god, there's so many tutorials before you get to Nele Island.
Yep. My issue with Chapter 2, and I think that is like, I think that's the thing that like really alludes to like my issues with Chapter 2. One, I don't have any problems with, your second fighting style being like introduced like a bit later, because like it gives people a chance to get used to like Mad Dog, etc. On like a Rich Island is not a big island. There's a lot of fight spawns, but it's like, you don't spend that much time there. But the thing that I have an issue with is not only do you get Sea Dog early, how long does it take to give you not only the flintlock pistol, but the chain hook?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah. Like that, I think surmises my big issues with Chapter 2. Like it just takes so long to get a move on.
I've had a problem where I came across something that clearly needed the use of a hook, but I didn't have the hook, so I had to wait for the story to progress.
Oh my god, that entire thing. I remember, because, okay, I should probably preface this by saying, the padding in Chapter 2 pissed me off it pissed me off so much that I wrote up an entire script on the fixing the issue of what I referred to as mandatory side content syndrome in the recent games. And this entire section, like specifically with the gun, because you also meet someone named Captain Beef. I could have gone my whole life without that entire section happening. But the moment he gave us the gun, or actually no, we found it in a chest, I just went, well, we do have that captain's quarters part of Jack the Collector. Couldn't we have just gone, oh, I just learned Sea Dog. Oh, here's a pistol. Why don't I use that? Do we need the entire treasure island just to be dedicated to that section?
No, the real reason is because they wanted you to see the new animation that he did, where he like dances like, I don't know how the fuck he dances, but
pain.
Yeah. But yeah, like story-wise, what even happens in Chapter 2?
I just launched the game to check the like actual proper animated cutscenes. There's the Jack the Collector / Sea Dog stuff, as you're saying, and then there's Madlantis, and that's it.
Oh,
that's it.
That'd explain a lot.
Wait,
I mean,
oh dear god.
Okay, I think we can all agree. Chapter 2 has the least amount of story content, right?
Yeah. And the big issue is that, if I remember rightly, and I think I do because obviously the Madlantis stuff, the issue with Chapter 2 is that's also where the game does the blueprint from Gaiden, where with Gaiden you had to get a Kami to silver rank, and then in the next chapter to gold rank. But here you have to get $10,000, which isn't an issue because there's a bounty that unlocks at the bounty system. When that unlocks right outside for 16k, perfectly fine. but it's the 15 crewmates. Like,
Oh
you
my
do
God.
have some crewmates initially, and that's all well and good, but you still have to get a couple more. It's the same thing that people complain about with Gaiden, that they had to, like, do the side content. And, like, here, it takes longer than Gaiden. It takes way longer than Gaiden. You can trust me on this one. We've been routing it for the speedrun. It takes longer than Gaiden. If you have the deluxe DLC, you get a head start because you have the extra CDs and the extra crewmates, and it still takes a long time.
How is that
like,
gonna
and,
go?
like-
Are you guys gonna have like categories for like no DLC characters? Is that possible?
We usually have the DLC banned, and like for the base any percent, there will absolutely be a category that is like no DLC allowed, because if you have that, you literally only need to get like 4 crewmates or something like that, which is ridiculous. And one of them being Kazami Evolution, which requires 10 CDs, and if you have the CD DLC, it's like you only need like to buy 2 CDs or something like that. It's like absurd. Usually we just have all DLC banned, and for the base any percent run, it will be banned. Some games do actually have any percent with DLC. Some games just have the DLC will be allowed for New Game Plus, because at that point, going into New Game Plus, you have all the crewmates anyway, you have all the CDs anyway, it doesn't matter there. Which is a shame, because I would have loved to blast MajiRon whilst, going around town and stuff like that. But stuff like Judgment with its insta-kill extracts, yeah, nah, that shit's banned.
No, I see.
That's just no.
No, wait, I could just be misremembering this, so anyone feel free to correct me. But don't you get access to the DLC crewmates once you acquire 15 crewmates that were already required for this?
No, you get them before.
I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm fairly confident you get them before.
I think
the game-
It's when
Sorry.
you get to a certain point in that chapter that they give it to you, and it is before the lock, which is just after the fight at Diamond Head.
Oh,
I'm
fucking
pretty confident on that.
Because I remember when I was doing that, I remember coming across that one guy that we meet in a sub-story with the whole shamanism window or wind
Kazmi
thing.
Evolution.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot the name. But he was like, oh yeah, give me 10 CDs. And I went into my freaking inventory and I was like, I have 100 CDs. Why aren't you taking any of them? What's going on? So I don't know. I'll need to double check it, because it might just be me kind of conflating in such a way, but I remember being like, you could have given me, what was it, Kiryu and Ichiban and blah, blah, blah. I have the DLC. Why couldn't I just add that into the crew?
Maybe the music player stuff comes after the crew stuff. I don't remember.
Could be.
I don't remember when I first noticed it.
Same.
I do remember that you get the DLC when you hop on the boat in Hawaii for like the first time.
Yeah,
I think that's when
it
you get
even tells you, doesn't it? It's like, hey, you can now use like... I think it starts off with you just getting Ichiban. Like, I think it's like, it just at first goes like, hey, you can use Ichiban, and then it's like, oh yeah, now you can use the rest.
That's
If I remember
that could
rightly.
be.
I might be wrong on that.
that's
Feel free
pretty
to go
weird.
back and check my footage.
Anyway, yeah, the whole 15, no, awful shit. I hope New Game Plus just immediately goes, oh wait, you have the money. Oh wait, you have the big Goromaru. We don't need to do any of that. Let's skip.
I hope so as
Yeah,
well.
It is. It is. So the point where it happens is just after Julie and Clark fix the ship and then remind you, hey, you've got to do the stuff.
I
It's,
see.
it's available after the ship gets the upgrade, which, the upgrade is just so you can play karaoke in the ship, of course.
Okay, praise the sun.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, to kind of try to summarize, in chapter 2, basically we can summarize it as like the pirate tutorial chapter. Everything you need to know as a pirate gets introduced there. How to, sail the ship, how to do ship battles, finding crewmates, pretty much everything related to, trying to go around, find islands, treasure hunting and all that. So, I've seen people argue like, it's not like, I guess in quotes, useless filler, because you're still doing like pirate stuff. It's just like not main story stuff, which I think I do agree with that. And if I didn't enjoy the gameplay loop, like I said in my short review video, I probably would hate this chapter. But the gameplay was genuinely pretty fun. I loved going out to hunt bounties, easy money, and just accumulating as many crewmates as possible was kind of addicting to me. And yeah, so like chapter 2 as a whole, I didn't mind it too much, but I can still acknowledge that, you know, like wow, this is a beefy gameplay chapter. Yeah, do you guys have anything to add about chapter 2?
Yeah, well, it's pretty blatant filler, which you know I'm not much of a fan of. There's even stuff like I remember this may not have been chapter 2, but I do remember specifically. There's a part where the game's like, all right, let's go do this thing, and then you stop by the Aloe Happy thing, and Noah's like, oh, well, if you want, we can go have a look at it, and I'm like, if I want, fuck yeah, I'm not doing it then.
Yeah.
And then I noticed the pink objective marker at Aloe Happy. I'm like, damn it, I've already done this.
Also, Kamulop, that's also in this chapter. Like, why are we introduced to this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Also,
man.
batting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of minigame stuff that's just introduced as part of the main story. I will say, like, Infinite Wealth, you are not required to get the Street Surfer. You can actually avoid it for the entire game. I think their
I missed
decision
it
to
for like
have
my
that-
whole playthrough, dude.
Yeah. I think the decision to have the Street Surfer as an early sub-story that's forced in the story, that's a good one. Because the fact that,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a good
it's
one.
easy to miss.
Yeah.
But not every minigame, but like a lot of the minigames on top of that, like you don't have to go and see, you know, Dragon Kart or Ikari, but like I don't want to see Live Again after that romance crap in Infinite Wealth. I don't want to see your face ever again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They also could have done without the batting tutorial, because I mean, it's just batting.
It's pretty obvious that people were like, oh, Gaiden was too short, and they went, you don't want a short game? Well, we'll fix that.
Yeah.
Here you go, it's just a bunch of padding.
That's one of the reasons I liked Gaiden, despite the fact that, you know, it like had its own padding. Was like I like the fact that the Gaiden's short. Like it
Yeah.
Yeah, it
has
was so
the-
minimal.
It has the issue of, you know, needing to go up to LAD chapter 12 and like, you know, make the timelines converge. But that's the other reason why I love Kaito Files is it gets on with it. Like there's like very extremely little filler in Kaito. There's like one when you're looking for Mikiko in chapter 2 in that it's chapter 2 again. You go up to the roof of the M-side cafe and you see a girl who's looking for a cat, and that leads into the plot. But that's the only fillery bit. That's it. Like it's nicer when they get on with it. And like I know they're trying to justify, you know, the price of the game by making the game longer, but that quote of like, you know, oh, it's 1.3 times the size of Gaiden, it just feels like you put in 1.3 times the size of filler.
Yeah,
Bro,
actually.
Can we talk about that one thing that happens? I think it was in chapter 2. When you go to Nele Island, they're like, yo, Sajima's coming to pick you up tomorrow.
Oh,
and
God.
Then, and then you spend like a whole week in Hawaii. It's like, bro, where's Sajima?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, he's coming tomorrow. Huh?
And it's so funny because like when you get back there, he's not there yet, and they say,
Yeah, I
"Oh,
know.
he's going to arrive tomorrow."
Yeah, what the hell happened?
I mean,
I
honestly,
got lost.
that part I can actually somewhat excuse. Because, okay, think back to the opening, where you have Majima instinctually protecting Noah. Playing devil's advocate here, I can imagine Majima, a part of him being like, I need to look for treasure. I have no bloody idea why, but I need to look for some treasure. And he was like, oh, this random Yakuza dude that I apparently know is coming here. Who gives a shit? I'm gonna look for treasure. And that's an instinct drawing him to look for something like the Elixir or Esperanza or whatever. But yeah, they didn't need to extend it this bloody much. I feel like the only reason they're doing it is because people complain so much over Majima Saga being too short, Kaito Files being too short, Gaiden supposedly having a critical path that's not long enough. So they just reallocated stuff that would normally be in the game into the critical path. And now people are saying that the story is diluted, and it's like, you can't win.
Yeah, well, the annoying thing is, like, when it comes to get your money's worth and whatever, they still have a shitload of side content and all of
Exactly.
these sort of optional things that's like, hey, look at this side content you can do. It's like, okay, can I do it on the side? No.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
one
I'm
of the
still getting my money's
reasons-
worth, but...
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why, again, I adored Gaiden. They brought back Pocket Circuit, and as part of Gaiden's story, you get forced to walk into Pocket Circuit. You don't have to do it though. You can walk out the
Yeah.
second you get the introduction.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they also like the thing that I loved about Gaiden. They went real hard. First Model 3 emulation games that we've had. Billiards came back. Like none of that is forced on you. That is just you want to
Exactly.
go do it. Like, but there's also like something else with Chapter 2. Like I don't know, like you know. a lot of us do enjoy this game, and I think it's been very negative. There is actually a positive to Chapter 2 that I do want to discuss,
Mhm.
because very briefly, the cast of characters is expanded in Chapter 2 with one, our boys, Nishida and Minami. Already back.
Yes.
And you also
Yes.
get to meet, obviously, Shigaki and Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Man, it was so nice seeing Minami. Like, how many years has it been since Yakuza 4,
It's been
technically?
since Yakuza 4, yeah. It's been...
Like
It
14?
literally has been since that.
15 years, I think.
Same voice actor as well in Japanese as well.
Yeah.
He was Kanai's voice actor in Yakuza 5 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And to honor him further, they gave the Kanai moveset to Nishida for some reason.
I do like he
Yeah,
has
that's
his one, like, flamethrower move just expanded to the max. Like,
Oh,
the first
oh
time
my
that
God.
happened in a fight, I was like, I'm dying. What's happening? What's going on?
As soon as you get them as crewmates, man, like I got them into the team. Like,
Yep.
Same.
That's okay. That's the other thing. Like, I kind of like about, like, the crewmate stuff, and feels a bit weirdly different in Pirate Yakuza. Most of the time, you'll get a lot of, like, sub-story characters that are great for the pirate ship, and there are some. The Minato girls are actually really, pretty good. But, like,
Oh yeah.
most of the characters that you get in the story actually stay really good on your ship.
yes.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Masaru, Jason, obviously Saejima, Nishida, Minami, all of them
Mhm.
are great. Even Misaki from the side content from that bit, which we'll talk about
Oh,
her
yeah.
in Chapter 3. Which
Can
oh
she
my
get
God,
an
she has
evolution
some-
as well, or is it just like the story characters?
I think it's just the story characters thing.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Yeah, I am also kind of glad because you'd think DLC characters will just outshine the base game characters in every way, so this is a positive. Does anything else happen in Chapter 2? Like you said, we get a whole bunch of characters.
We don't meet Rodriguez's father until Chapter 3, do we? No, because then we have the Rodriguez fight. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's it. And obviously when you meet Rodriguez, like, for obviously those who don't know, he's like a member of Palicana, and they at this point kind of hand wave it off as like the zealots that were most, like, brainwashed by Bryce, and they're still
Yeah.
hanging around, and the Yakuza are here to just clean up the nuclear waste. It's kind of like your initial reason for the real reasons why both groups are still there.
I gotta say, I actually thought Rodriguez was gonna be the final boss.
Right?
He just seems so kind of like, the quiet, brutal kind of person. Especially like when you meet him for the first time and he seems like pretty hostile towards you. I was like, okay, this guy gives me what's his name, Shishido vibes. And
Yeah, well, and also because normally character whose face is based off an actor is a final villain, so it's like it could be any one of you guys.
Literally, yeah.
yeah,
I get this feeling, and I've had it for a little while. I think if there is anyone who is modeled after a famous actor, I'm getting the feeling we're in... You know how in the PS3 era, if you were a face-scanned actor, you were either A, never coming back, or B, bloody dead by the end of the game? I think we're in the point where if you're a face-scanned actor and you're not a good guy, you're going to be the final boss.
yes.
Yeah.
I basically mentioned the same thing in my streams. Like, if you have face models, look out for those. They're gonna be the ones. One of them.
I think the only exception is Daniel Day Kim in Infinite Wealth, his face is obviously Wong To, but his voice is actually Emina. So it's like, he technically still is the final boss, but he's not.
Yeah, that was such an odd example. Right, so anything else we want to say about Chapter 2? Anything at all?
The
I
segment
think-
has gone on as long as Chapter 2 has, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think Chapter 2 is mostly introductions, like, characters and gameplay as well, and all that. But, moving away from that, I think... Is the next chapter, Chapter 3, the one where, Noah was about to get kidnapped by the quote-unquote Palicana?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, I
You
think
have
that's like the major
set
event, right?
piece. Yeah.
The first
Yeah,
long
it's
battle,
like-
right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think...
Chapter 2.
Is it still Chapter 2? It could be.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what happens in any chapter because all of it's the same.
You know what? Yeah, chapter numbers
I'm
aside,
actually
let's just...
firing the video game up to have a quick check.
I think, because I have just some of the footage. I think that's still in Chapter 2 with the whole
Is it actually?
swashbuckling tutorial.
Oh, that is cool actually, but and I also like speaking of the swashbuckling, I like they don't overdo it. Like,
Agreed.
Yeah, it was very cool.
So before the bit where Noah gets kidnapped as well, I'm pretty sure like they have a conversation at the bar where they talk about, for example, Jason's past with the pirates and Masaru as well. I thought those bits were nice, like just to add like some context as to like how experienced those guys might be and how their past lives were prior to Majima coming along and kind of changing everything. Masaru also knowing Jason, I think, was an interesting dynamic where they're not complete strangers to each other. They have a history together. Jason and there's a guy called Mortimer, which we see in Atlantis. So Jason, Mortimer, Masaru were all part of the same crew, but Mortimer sold them out, I believe, and things haven't been the same ever since. And now with Majima, it's like the complete opposite, where you have like a very kind of what's the word? Like tightly knit crew where everybody's like doing their best, everybody's at the top of their game. I thought those bits with Jason and the previous pirate crew he was with was pretty interesting. And then I think not long after that, Noah gets kidnapped, if I remember right, or
Yeah, interestingly, like as well, we haven't mentioned Queen Michelle or Raymond because the end of chapter 2 is actually the conversation. I think it's the end of chapter 2 between Naomi and Majima in Honolulu, which
that's
like
how the
lays
chapter
out.
ends.
Yeah, which lays out the Queen's like whole deal in this and what she wants from Majima, and then she goes missing for like the next chapter or two.
Yeah.
I also thought the way that chapter ended was very abrupt. Like, in the middle of the conversation, it just cuts to black and... Do you want to save?
Well, yeah, especially since it's like a dialogue cutscene. It's not like a properly animated one. It's just like...
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you're just the kind of person who reads the subtitles and just hits X to skip. You're reading it and it's just, black. Oh.
Yeah.
What did I do? What did I miss?
Yeah.
Right, so you also do meet Naomi's mom, or Jason's wife, which, it was nice, I guess, but you only see her that one time. Naomi is given, like we said before, way more screen time compared to her sister Moana, and I think she was a fairly decent character. What do you guys think of Naomi?
I like that she kicked ass at the end of the video game.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
Nice. Like, she actually, after everything that went down with like the Queen and yourselves, like her coming back, especially beside you, was just this is good. This is the RGG stuff right here.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I was kind of thinking because I saw it in the soundtrack list on Spotify, and I may have heard it in the game files before the game came out because I was digging to have resources for videos. Anyway, the Queen boss theme, I kind of was thinking I wonder if this will be like you fight Naomi and this is the theme that plays because she's like the Queen's bodyguard, and then you don't. But I think it would have been interesting if she was like a boss.
Yeah. I mean, they made a whole moveset for her. It would have been a bit of a waste, but at least you do have that one amazing segment at the end with her. So,
I mean, right before she jumped off the ship, when we basically exploded the Queen Michelle, I thought we were gonna have a proper either a swashbuckling thing, not a direct boss fight, but an encounter with her, and then she just jumps off, and it's like, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Swashbuckling, there would actually have been a good example for the swashbuckling thing there as well. I think you're right.
Or maybe a QTE fight a la Krauser in OGRE4.
Oh, hell yeah. So, going back to the Palicana bit, was the hooded Palicana figure supposed to be Shigaki?
No, he's a random dude.
No, it was one of his,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the random dudes, that you fight against when it's you versus Palicana back on LA Island.
Which, they hide the faces, and it's like, I don't fucking know who this is. Why'd you hide your face?
I was looking at the chin, and I was just like, I know this guy. Do I know this guy? It's like, no,
yes.
you don't know this guy. It's just some dude.
Same.
Yeah.
Bloody Brian.
And he gets a quick time event.
Yeah.
Wait.
Shout
Are we
out to
talking
the guy just, ramming his shoulder through a goddamn wall. Good for you.
Yeah, which, actually, it's funny you bring that up, because I feel like even though it didn't really matter in the end, it was a subtle hint that it wasn't actually a Pelicana person because he didn't kill himself.
Yep.
He almost did, but he didn't.
Yep.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about that. You know the long battle that ends with a Pelicana dude fight, Gokudoni?
Yeah, I thought that was Rodriguez for a while. That's why I was like, wait, he's very muscly, and it's like, well, huh.
Yeah, he's pretty tall as well, and the facial hair looks pretty different. I mean,
Do you think it would have worked better if it was like either Rodriguez or somebody from Pelicana that was built up beforehand, rather than just dude named Brian?
I think it might have worked, yeah. Because Rodriguez already seemed like he was very wary of Majima, and he seemed like he was up to something, so maybe.
What if it was that guy who was friendly with Ichiban and Infinite Wealth, whatever his name was, the little guy?
Oh my god.
He got jacked.
Yeah, what happened to that guy? I assume he's still helping out on the island, but what the hell happened to that guy?
I don't know.
Probably hanging out with Tomizawa, because he said something
Yeah.
about, oh, yeah, we're gonna help out people handing out food and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
because they mention like the fact that there's like a small spin-off of these zealots on the island to, look after
The good
place.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they like make a very brief mention. I can't remember if it's chapter 2 or 3, but it's like a very brief mention to like, the new sage, which I think we all assume is Lanny? Question mark?
Maybe.
From how Infinite Wealth ended, I think that was
Yeah, who
supposed to
knows?
hint that it's Lanny.
Unless they're building up Lad 9 with the Pelicana again, which, no.
Considering they keep using them, I wonder. Although I will say, it was very fun to have a good couple of fights against the Pelicana Zealots in an action game and have them
Oh,
move
yeah.
the actual,
Yeah,
action
yeah.
moveset.
It was so much more satisfying because in the opening, I remember being so pissed off because they said, oh, the Pelicana are basically like Yakuza and blah blah. And like, you're comparing the positive build-ups of what we had of the rest of the franchise to cultists who kill people and kidnap children. Like, no, don't
Yeah.
But the actual fights were really damn good.
I didn't know if I expected for them to like bring up Bryce ever again, but we got a surprising amount of Bryce lore.
I
Yeah.
think one of the things that this game wanted to cover was how, like, the mysteries behind Bryce, like, how Infinite Wealth casually dropped the dude's supposed to be like 90 plus and he looks like he's still like 60.
Yeah.
Like, or not 60 in Majima case, but 60 in
Yeah.
antagonist case.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken, but I could have sworn in Infinite Wealth they say Bryce is over 90. In
Yes.
Pirate Yakuza they say he's over 100. So which one is it?
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, I think it's supposed to be ambiguous, or it could just be RGG forgot.
Yeah.
I mean, fair, yeah.
So one of the things that I believe happens after we save Noah, we have the Pelicana to talk to, and we go back to Nelly Island, and I think that's when we confront Shigaki and we fight him, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's chapter 3.
we basically ask him, hey, what the hell's going on here? And then I think not long after that, we find out that he, sent that dude because he wanted Majima to be out of the picture for like some kind of plan that he was cooking up. So
he
yeah,
also wanted Saejima out of the picture as well, even though Saejima still hadn't got there yet.
yeah. So we fight Shigaki, and then almost right after that, I think we get Saejima, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Saejima arrives into the island. Pretty cool scene, I gotta say. Like, there's a lot that I love about it.
I fucking laugh my ass off when Goro scratched his back.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So funny.
Peed on
Oh,
his
God.
foot as well.
Yeah.
I saw
Bro-
so many people use that specific line as like, no, this is what's wrong with modern Yakuza. You're disrespecting and are you fucking kidding me?
I've seen a surprising amount of oh god, what's the word? Gatekeeping of this game.
Oh, yeah.
Not good gatekeeping, not like, oh, you got to play this one, this is the one to play, blah blah blah. The reverse, the extreme anti-Pirate Yakuza gatekeeping.
Oof,
This
we'll get to that.
is where the series has finally jumped the shark, etc. And it's just
Well,
like,
okay, to be
what?
fair, I was just talking about this in the stream that I did today, but how many controversial Yakuza games do we have?
All of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like,
actually,
what the hell,
yeah.
dude?
Like, I'm not even joking at this point, because it largely depends on the social media platform that you observe. I checked it out yesterday.
Yeah,
Like,
legit.
Twitter is leaning more so towards the negative, Reddit is leaning more so towards the positive, and YouTube, not counting the four of us here and reviewers who got the code significantly ahead of time, I haven't seen any genuine praise for this game. Anyone either from the no damage community or people that are very, very into the narrative side post Nagoshi, they've been excessively shitting on this game, even the things that it does well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because like the game only just came out, so like it didn't have time to really simmer in with people. I don't know, because I mean, there's one very maybe unrelated example, but for example, with the soundtrack, I've seen a lot of people saying this is like the worst soundtrack in the whole franchise. But for me at least, it takes a while for the OST to really cook into my brain. Takes a while for me to get used to like their names, and sometimes I might even fall in love with a track, like, I don't know, months later. I don't know, like, it could just be like, in a funny way, like the anti-recency bias, the opposite of recency bias.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a new equals bad meta on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really fucking annoying.
I mean,
Like-
we're living through a new coming of Dead Souls just releasing in the West. So for anyone who wasn't in the community back then, it was basically this.
Yeah. I do think that there are some people that have like actual legit complaints about the story, and like you'll hear, like listening to this now, we'll also hear, you know, we've got our own complaints. Chapter 2 goes on, God, so long, so much padding, and like I do agree with that, and I think like all of us have said in some way, like so far, that characters needed to be developed a bit more. But like I've seen takes as like this is the worst writing in the entire series, and it's like, yeah, you really haven't played Dead Souls. Well, you haven't played the finale of Yakuza 4. I don't mean to crap on Yakuza 4 again, but cool.
I mean, that's a good point to bring up, because think of it this way. Would we judge a story like that of the Majima saga by the standards of a game like Judgment? Because it's like you have a different runtime, you have different standards to live up to, you have a different goal in mind to build towards. And if we're specifically talking about, okay, because think of it this way, this is a story that doesn't aim to do that much, but what it does well. Would that be more commendable than a game that aims very, very high and falls apart at the end? Not saying any names, Yakuza 4, Yakuza 5. Like, I'm not putting that in the same category, but you need to look at it from a broader perspective. It's not just, oh, this is shit because it's designed to be a silly game, and then it becomes a silly game.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
For what it's
also
worth. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was going to say the point of the story, because it's the same with the first Gaiden, because this is also Gaiden, is that it's sort of like expanding on the story. So the original Gaiden, expanding on the story of 7, that's why it's 7 Gaiden, while doing its own thing simultaneously. And so it's like, here you go, here's how Kiryu got to this scene. And also he's doing his own shit with Shishido and Tsuno and all that. And then this one is like, you know, here's what happened with Pelicana and Bryce and all that sort of stuff. But we're also doing our own shit with Pirate Adventures.
Oh, yeah.
And so when people play it and they're just like, oh, you know, why isn't this Like a Dragon 9 or some shit like that? It's like,
You know, funnily enough,
it's a side story.
when the first Gaiden came out, I heard the same kind of criticism where it's like, you know, I've seen people saying, did this really need to like happen, like the whole Gaiden game? Because they've essentially seen it as like, a lot of this didn't need to exist because we can fill in the blanks easily. So the same thing is kind of happening with Pirate Yakuza now, and I do see where people are coming from, but at the same time, it's like, do a lot of the Yakuza games need to happen? That's the question. They don't, but, you know.
Yeah.
I hate that there's a lot of genuinely great criticism there, but it's being drowned out by people that just decided that they would hate the game the moment it was announced as a pirate game. That's the big issue.
It's exactly the same thing as you were saying, like with the Dead Souls issue of just the second that they announced that as a zombie shooter, everyone was just like, fuck this game, I don't want this game.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, you know, not to be like a downer or like too much of a kind of a positive voice, but you know, if something doesn't vibe with you, I fully understand that. Like maybe, I don't know, just like the only example I can think of right now, maybe turn-based is not your cup of tea, so you don't play Yakuza Like a Dragon or Infinite Wealth, right? Fair enough. But like, how do I say this? with Pirate Yakuza, for example, maybe you don't vibe with the pirate theme, and you got into the series because of like the very serious crime drama kind of stories with the earlier games, and very understandable. Maybe that's why you will just outright reject the idea of Pirate Yakuza as a game at all. But yeah, like I think just as long as it's not somebody that's trying to shove this idea that you should hate this game down everybody's throats, like I'm fine with that. But the moment you do that, it's like, come on, bro.
Exactly.
Because yeah, like there's a lot about this game that is worthy of criticism and could have been done better. Like at the end of the day, at least I personally find it to just be a fun experience regardless. Again, not saying it's 10 out of 10, just saying, as a Yakuza game, it's great.
The question I have after that, do you think this game is going to be forgettable in a couple of months? Like, you know how, like, I keep constantly going back to this. I don't want to crap on Ladishin, but every time it's Ladishin. I remember after Ladishin came out, like not even a month after it came out, all conversation about Ladishin stopped. It was gone.
That's a very
I'm
good...
wondering if it's... Because Gaiden's still talked about now, and I don't know if that's just because of, the hyper-emotional, like, final scenes, or because Gaiden was a bit more personal, because obviously it being a Kiryu story, but does this game end up like Ladishin? Is it going to get stopped talking about in a month?
I feel like even Gaiden had like its ups and downs in terms of debate. Like at first it was like, oh man, this game is so good, and then actually wait, this game is actually shit, and then oh man, this game is so good. Maybe the same thing is going to happen to Pirate Yakuza.
Yeah, well, a problem, like, because we've discussed this before, a problem Ishin definitely did have was it was announced at the same time as Infinite Wealth and Gaiden. So Ishin came out, and then like a month later, everyone's just like, fucking yeah, it's the game that came out, what would have been 8-9 years ago or whatever. Let's look at this new thing. Whereas right now, there is no like new thing we have to look forward to yet because they haven't announced anything except for Project Sentry, but we barely know anything about it, and it's technically not a Yakuza game.
And they're also, like, even on their social media, RGG aren't even, like, acknowledging that it exists, other than that one image of Snoop in the Hiyori.
Yeah.
I was gonna say as well, like, I'm pretty sure when I think when Infinite Wealth maybe came out, I remember hearing, like, the same thing about Gaiden. This is just, like, one Twitter post, but people said, oh, is it just me, or, like, is Gaiden sort of forgotten now? But, I don't know, like... It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes with Pirate Yakuza, because I don't know. I don't know.
It's rough. Like, I think it also like is rough with us being relative fans of Pirate Yakuza and what it does. Like, it's it deserves its criticism. It absolutely does. But I think there's some excruciatingly negative criticism that it just doesn't deserve.
I do feel like it will fall into the category of being more so on the forgotten side, but for different reasons than people might think. Because with Ishin Kiwami specifically, I've noticed this, even though I adore both OG Ishin and the remake, the West just didn't click that well with the samurai games, even Kenzan. Yeah. Like, I remember getting news over essentially they restarted the fan project of translating Kenzan. And I saw barely anyone talk about it apart from the most hardcore people who were into the samurai games. So from a general appeal, I feel like a casual audience, even though Ishin is its own thing, just didn't latch onto it because it was Ishin. But then with regards to something like Gaiden, the only time I see that game being brought up is when people say, it's a mech game but it had a great ending, or when they criticize the gameplay. And that's about it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something extremely controversial, just kind of following on from that.
Go on.
I'm gonna get a lot of slack for this.
Those
are the reasons I don't think RGG should do a Kenzan remaster. I think a Kenzan remaster is gonna go worse than Ladishin.
Fair. I don't know if I told you guys, but there was one time I saw somebody blaming me for how Ishin Kiwami failed.
What?
They said something like, "Oh, this dude like wanted Ishin so bad, and then when it came out, he shit all over it." And I'm like, "Bruh, like Ishin as a game is like it's pretty important. I can acknowledge that, but would I say it's my favorite? No, I think it's a sick game though. Like
I mean, have they not seen a single one of your tier lists before? Like, I've known for a while that you're just not a fan of Ishin. And that's been, again, long before Kiwami was even announced.
I don't know.
Jesus, weird.
I also wonder for like a lot of people, like whether like that samurai setting and like just in general the fact you've got all these different characters with different names and it's a big cast list for Ishin. And this isn't, me calling out anyone's intellect or anything like that. Don't consider it this way. But I remember, like, especially when the series first came out, and you had, Kiryu as Kiryu, and then like Kazuma is also Kazuma, and like people struggle to follow along with that. I wonder whether people struggle to follow along with Ishin because one, giant cast list, and two, just the terminology of everything in that time period. Because they had the lexicon like in game obviously of terms, but it's like there was a lot. Ishin was dense. Ishin was very dense in like because of the time period. Hey, you vibe with this or you don't. Like it's kind of sink or swim. Like you either you look into like the words, the terminology. Do you know what Shinsengumi is? Like if you don't, it's like I could see people just being all like, well, why do I care?
Okay, well, it's real world historical context in the whole game. If you actually know the history, it like improves the quality of the story so much, which most people in Japan probably do. Like I don't know, but they probably taught it in schools and shit. And like I didn't know any of the history, but when I was playing through the original Ishin and I started looking it up, I was like, oh, that's cool. And like stuff like Majima's character in Ishin, I forgot his counterpart's name.
Soji.
Yeah, that's it.
Cough.
He was known as like being a handsome fella, and I think Kiryu made a comment, or Ryoma made a comment, saying like, "Oh, you're supposed to be handsome." He's like, "What the fuck you mean?" And then later on, it's revealed that it's because he took the place of the real Okita and stuff, because that's like an original Ishin stuff, and then also how the game opens with the actual assassination of Sakamoto Ryoma.
Yes,
and then after that point, it becomes its own original story, and so like knowing the real history improved it a lot, and so that's why a lot of people in the West were just like, well, I don't fucking care, because understandably, no one knew it.
Yeah,
guys,
it'd be like if a Yakuza game suddenly decided to be the Henry Tudors from England. Like, none of you know who the fuck Henry VIII is. Like, who cares? Like,
See, but that's the interesting thing about it, because looking at it from that perspective, Kenzan would actually be a more beginner-friendly entry in that regard, because Kiryu, even though we also refer to him as Miyamoto Musashi, when he's in Gion, most people still refer to him as Kiryu. And, Majima is still Majima, it's just Gorohachi, and then Haruka is still Haruka, and it's like, it would definitely be an easier pill to swallow for a lot of people with regards to, oh yeah, it's still that guy, it's just that he's a samurai. But here it's like... No one's gonna know that Saito Hajime and Sakamoto Ryoma weren't the same person in history, but they connected them here because it made for an interesting story and blah blah blah.
Yeah. And it made it like easier to remember characters and names and all that sort of stuff if you knew the original characters, because it's like I never once called him Nagakura, I called him Sajima the entire time.
Yeah, same.
So if you didn't play either the Yakuza games or you didn't know the history, you're just gonna be like, I don't know who you are, bald man.
I just refer to them as like not Akiyama, not Ryuji.
I just remember the names because of Gintama, and that's it. Because we have characters like Okitai and Shinpachi, and
Man, my sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, I just want to apologize that once again I dragged the subject to Ladish and
no, dude, I was just about to say, is the story of Pirate Yakuza so boring that we just talk about the Asian story?
I don't mean to keep dragging Ladishin down. I'm sorry. I genuinely like the game.
I just thought it was funny.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it always connects to one another, because when someone says, okay, the issues of Pirate Yakuza supposedly being underwhelming, it always drags to the other question of, is this going to be remembered down the line? Will people learn anything from it, development-wise, story structure-wise, and whatever? So it is an issue that we need to address. Same thing with the filler. It's not like this is the first game that had an absurd amount of filler. I would argue that it started with the original Judgment, and that's my second favorite game in the franchise.
Filler.
Yeah.
You don't love tailing somebody for half an hour?
Yeah, oh my god. And it just kept getting worse.
Fun fact, because of the speedrun, if you only do the main story, Judgment speedrun is 4.5 hours. 38 minutes of that is tailing segments.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Great game. Genuinely one of my favorite RGG games.
Same.
It is a great game. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah. But that also,
actually-
like you say, has the same issues. There is one part in Chapter 3, and I know because I vehemently fucking hate this in the speedrun, where you have to do VR Mario Party. You don't have to
Oh,
win.
yeah.
You just have to do VR Mario Party.
Yeah.
Play a mini game.
How many force
Even-
side cases do you have?
Oh, yeah,
Force side cases in Judgment is 4 of them, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the
Some of them-
Kaito Captain Cop one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Some of them are short, like obviously the extract guy, and then obviously some of them are a bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, even because recently replaying Judgment, I was just sort of thinking like, how did I let them get away with this? Doing like the extract guy, it's like you have to fight the dudes for literally like 4 hours, and then it's like, okay, now you can do the tutorial thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Or even other things,
Yeah.
like there are some animations where, let's just say it's just like Yagami walking forward before he does something, that are just purposefully extended by like twice their actual duration. Just to extend the time. It's like, stop doing this.
I swear to God, replaying a game does wonders. Like you either
Yeah, you either
realize.
go, damn, this game's fucking awesome, or damn, this game fucking
Yes.
sucks.
Yeah.
As the person who skips all the story, which I've got to say, I felt so called out during Pirate Yakuza for that. I laughed my absolute ass
Oh,
off. at
that
the,
part.
the
Oh my
Michiko
God.
comment. So good.
Yeah.
Like literally, as like someone who like replays these games so often, you know, like if you want to replay these games, that some of them just suck to replay. And again, I don't want to drag certain games into the mud, but Yakuza 5 step the fuck up.
Dude, I'm not even joking, that thing of her saying like, oh, skipping dialogue, I accidentally skipped it. I was holding R1 and just pressing A, and then I just went, oh.
Oh my god, wait. Now that we're on that, and how there's mandatory side content here. So, after a point, I just given up. I was literally skipping. When we met the girl who told us about the Pharaoh Stone, the moment she uttered the words Pharaoh Stone, I was like, no more filler. I'm only doing the critical path. And then...
She just appears out of nowhere. She's like, I'm an important character.
You know, and that's the whole thing, which I could also excuse if it weren't for the other 17 treasure islands, but this is what we're building towards. Masaru says Minato girls, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not listening to this shit. We go to Revolve, and that girl is there, and she's like, hey, do you want to buy me pay my tab of 10,000? And I vocally, vehemently swore in Croatian and said fucking no. And the game actually lets you. She, for the duration of my playthrough, from that point up until a couple of hours into Premium Adventure, she just stood in Revolve. I refused to pay. I just left
That's
her
so
there.
funny.
So yeah, I didn't even hear that until much later, and I was like, this is a cool scene. But why the hell are you here?
Okay, I just want to say before I forget, but I will give credit where it's due. I do appreciate that they didn't force you to freaking jump into the Minato girls thing. Like,
Yes.
Exactly.
you can just refuse and like move on. Like
Yeah.
that is one of the few, I guess, saving graces from like all this filler.
Yeah, this is what half of the stuff should have been, including Kabulop and Alohapi, Photo Rally or whatever, and Batsing and all of that. Just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the sub-stories you can just say no to, but then, like, the
Yeah.
compulsory ones, they're just like, no, you have to say yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Reminds
also kind
me-
of funny,
Hmm?
like as someone who does speedrun stuff. With most of the games, we have a category called ass or sub stories. And this is something I guess is a conversation for later. But Pirate Yakuza ass is kind of bad because there's no Amon. Like
yeah.
the Amon is in the game, but he's not a sub story. He's tied to the other side content.
Yeah.
He's in Gaiden, he's tied to the exact same content, which is the Colosseum, but he's a sub-story there. In this game, he's not. So it's like your final sub-stories that unlock, unlike the Colosseum ones in Gaiden, are the Minato girls. And I think we know what most people's opinions about that's gonna be.
Should we dedicate this segment in the gameplay
We should.
section?
Yeah,
Okay.
we should. Yes.
We should, 100%.
All right.
Yeah, oh wait, you're gonna need to introduce Colosseum % just so that you see how cool the Amon is in Pirate Yakuza.
Yeah, honestly, I think like genuinely that I might just like make a category that is just Amon %. Like,
Hell
and
yeah.
here's the thing, like there are There are absolutely, and it's very rare, there are absolutely Yakuza games where you do not have Amon as a sub-story, and the sub-stories themselves are genuinely, like, really cool. The all sub-stories are actually really cool. Yakuza Dead Souls. Genuinely.
Oh yeah.
Yakuza Dead Souls all sub-story is amazing. And, like, here's the thing. The sub-stories in Pirate Yakuza are not bad. I'm not saying they are bad, but they all follow the same flow. Intro cutscene, go off somewhere else, like, cutscene in the middle, fight, done.
Yeah.
There is
I feel
only
like-
a few that just
Sub-stories do the
aren't like
same
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
people come at me. I feel like it's a controversial opinion, but I swear to fuck, every single sub-story is the same thing in
I
every
agree.
game.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
just
kinda
you,
agree.
you talk to a person, and then someone goes, "Hey, you did misunderstanding, yada yada." Fight them, and then, "Oh, sorry, here's your reward, 10
This-
XP."
This was the big issue I had, and I am gonna drag this game through the mud. Fist of the North Star, because every single sub story, or the majority of sub stories in Fist of the North Star, was just Kenshiro, solve this with your fists, please. There was no the actual source material. Kenshiro, like, you know, he is empathetic. He like isn't just a guy that punch people, blow head up. But that's the entirety of like damn near every single sub story in Fist of the North Star, apart from the cabaret stuff, which don't get me started. That was 16 and a half hours. Don't get me started. Do not.
You know,
I mean,
I feel
that's
like
not-
maybe they're kind of listening to the like feedback, I guess you can say, where it's like, oh, we can have like lesser sub stories, but more or like longer ones. Maybe that's why
Yeah,
they keep doing the same things.
Right.
I will praise them for the fact there's only 31 sub stories in the game. 31 or 32. I think it's 31.
31, yeah.
Mm,
I just
And
kind of
there are some good unique sub stories. I think the one that everyone's going to mention, everyone's going to know when I say it, Goro's Heart.
I did not do
that
that
is-
one yet, but I heard things.
That okay, so
Dear
like without
God.
spoilers, that one is a very good use of previous mechanics you have seen inside content of Yakuza games, but repurposed in an extremely funny way. Like
Mm.
that's good. And that one doesn't even have that one doesn't have a fight in it, I don't think. Oh no, it does. Like there's just some random dudes, I think. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's some
Wait,
random
is
dudes that
there?
come at the end. I think.
Oh, did they attack the dude that had the actual helmet? Or...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something like
Oh.
that. I think there is a fight in that one. I might be misremembering, but like the actual content of that sub story, like the main content, is just that is a very clever way of reusing and retooling previously used mechanics in like previous Yakuza games side content to
Mhm.
a very funny degree. Like
Yeah.
that's something that they did get right with that in a couple of like sub stories with the thing.
I never thought I
to
would
be
say this, but I want to see like one or two fetch quests because like there's none.
I
Like, you know, instead of following
I-
the usual formula, like, oh, you know, you bump into somebody, they tell you their life story, and then you decide to help them and all that. Just have like one person that you do have a conversation with, but instead of the usual formula, you get them something, and then that's it.
Here's the thing that is kind of covered with the crewmates.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, true,
that's
true,
the
true.
issue. Like, and like the crewmates, obviously, there's. Okay, that's also the other thing. Actually, I think we're going to talk about it later. But it's like you've got crewmates that are locked behind mini games in this game, and it's
Yeah.
also like you've got the crewmates that are like around on the map as well. Like,
Mhm.
it's an interesting parallel this time, isn't it? Like, they're the fetch quest. Like, you have
Right.
to do the menial
Yeah.
jobs to get them, whereas the Colosseum in Gaiden was you mostly fight and then recruit them
Yeah.
or
That
get them
was
from
cool.
sub-stories.
It reminded me a lot of, let's say, the Yakuza 3. Yeah, specifically the Yakuza 3 era, because I think that one had over 100 sub-stories. A lot of
Yes.
them would either be just hit someone, yeah, you're done, or minigame dependent stuff, from what I can recall. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that it was reintegrated here with the Goro Pirates was an interesting choice, because the moment that I remembered, because I did go for the Bloody Platinum in 3, if I have another one, hey, beat me at darts or beat me at pool sub-story, I'm gonna yeet myself off
Jesus.
cliff.
The Kiwami 3 is absolutely happening. You can do the best thing ever, RGG. Cut that shit out.
Oh, yeah.
Please. Begging you.
Double it.
And
Give it to the next person.
God, like the thing is as well is like, and it's kind of going to be like a weird complaint because yeah, Yakuza 3's like side content is like way bloated beyond belief, and it does this thing where some sub stories go into each other. But those are also some of the coolest ones because you have the 7 mysteries of downtown Ryukyu, and then you also have like
Ooh, yeah.
the scam guys just walking around on the street that you bump into, and every bone in his body keeps breaking and double breaks them,
Yeah.
Kiryu breaks them, and it's like it's just funnier every time because it's like, oh god, it's these guys. It's
Yeah.
like you know what's about to happen, but it's like in a normal RGG game that would all be one sub story.
Mhm.
Like A modern RGG game, not a normal RGG game.
Right.
Yeah.
That's bad phrasing.
Yeah, I get you.
I just want more sub stories like the Kaito one and Gaiden, where like it actually
Yes.
ties into like the stories of the game instead of just like doing some random shit.
Yeah.
So
Because
awesome.
I mean, imagine if there was, sub stories for the Judgment Boys in Majima Gaiden as well, and that's how you get them into your crew or something. Instead of just playing baseball and Kaito's like, "Fuck, man, that's sick. I'll join."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I just wanted to say, I know some of the viewers right now may be thinking, "Yo, guys, stop talking about sub stories. Let's go to the story." But to be fair, the sub stories are sort of like closely tied to the story in this game. It's kind of weird because you're being pushed onto the side content and all that. So, yeah. But like, what was the last thing? Yeah, sorry.
It's
Go
the
on.
most meta part we could do because chapter 2 drags you all over the place, and this part of the video drags you all over the place.
Yes, thank
It's
you.
funny because I think you're about to ask what the last thing we talked about was. I'm fairly certain it was Saejima turning up. This took as long as Saejima took to turn up in the game.
Yeah.
Oh my god, wait, yeah, that was in chapter 3. We retroactively went back to chapter 2. No!
It's
Chapter
chapter.
so long it drags into the other chapters.
Yes. So yeah, Saejima finally arrives on the island. Majima gets to meet him. He doesn't know who he is because, amnesia. But Saejima's kind of determined to drag him back to Japan. So Majima's like, no, we'll fight. And we have a pretty good fight. I really enjoyed that fight. But yeah, it was, like we said earlier, it was pretty funny when like Saejima takes off his shirt, being all badass, and then Goro just like scratches him.
Yeah.
And then... Oh, you also see kind of Minami poking fun at Saejima, which I really, really loved. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like there was a line one of the NPCs have before you go out and meet Saejima. Is maybe Masaru, I think. When you just talk to him, it's just text, and he's like, "Saejima and Majima, do all Oath brothers have similar names?"
Yeah, I remember
Like,
that
they
one.
finally pointed it out. It's like if Nishiki's name was like Biryu.
Oh wait, can we actually point out how, and I know this is gonna rile a lot of people up, especially those that talk about who's the strongest character.
Oh no.
This is technically the first fight between Majima and Saejima where we don't have a draw, and it was Majima that won.
Yeah.
And then after you beat him, the cutscene that plays is the Yakuza 0 Lao Gui intro, but Majimo's... Was it his name? The
Yes.
final boss?
Yep.
Majima's... He
Yeah.
flips over him and said... And I was watching that, I'm like, what?
Right. It's like that's gonna be the opening. Nope, that's the ending. How?
That's the ending, yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. I mean, honestly, I don't know which one I would have preferred more, because the dynamic intro is, technically new, but yeah.
I did notice this in chapter 1 as well, but I would like to say nice to RGG for introducing QTs a lot earlier in the game in chapter 1 with the key fight.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
damage QTs again, which is nice.
Mhm.
You had the damage QTs in Gaiden, but the first one that turns up was the first Nishani fight. Weirdly enough, it takes that long.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it genuinely
and
takes that long.
Weren't there like 3 QTs in Gaiden? Right?
Yeah.
There's
Nishani
like
fight.
the 2 Nishitani ones that were both X, and then
Yeah.
the Shishido one that was triangle.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Do they not change at all?
Yeah, no, they don't.
They don't.
No.
Oh dear.
Well, it's weird.
Which actually, I think we found out they don't in Pirate Yakuza as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
X prompts, I think.
Yeah.
My friend thought the same thing, yeah. Or like the Lost Judgment ones are the same inputs, but good luck remembering any of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Apart from the one
infinitely
with the
prefer-
chainsaw with Akutsu. which is
Triangle.
fine.
Triangle.
Triangle. Yeah.
And that is not how chairs work against chainsaws, by the way. But this series has had weirder things. Imagine became a pirate at one point.
hmm Did you want to say something, Gokudoni?
I'm just glad, even if we go down the whole, oh yeah, it's one input, I would much rather this than whatever LJ did. And again, I that's like my 5th favorite Yakuza game, but holy hell, those QTEs. I remember at one point I deliberately failed them just so that certain fights could last longer. But then I started messing them up, and then it's like, wait, can I end this, please? Anyway.
The funny
Yeah, well,
thing
it's
is,
because...
Go on.
I was going to say, it's because the inputs are supposed to be like what Yagami's doing, and so one of them is like an evade strike input. but it's just
Right.
it's like R1 and then the left down looks like, then X and then triangle.
Yeah.
And you also get more of them, the harder the difficulty you play on.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
You're
And I love it
inputting
conceptually.
GTA like secret codes.
Oh my god, no.
And they don't
Just
tell you
no.
that you can use the D-pad for Lost Judgments QTs, and you should use the
What?
D-pad for
Yeah.
Lost Judgments.
Wait, you can?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it like you know how you use the control stick and it like registers if you're slightly off, like towards like down or up?
Yes.
No, just use the D-pad.
Yeah.
That literally messed me up so many times. Specifically the analog inputs. The other
Yep,
ones I'm
yep.
fine with, but why?
Yeah,
Ugh,
just
Same,
like we figured it
same.
out early. Just use the D-pad.
dear God. I need to watch more speedruns. Holy hell.
Yeah.
Right, so after you beat Saejima, for some reason they tie him up. And then-
Yeah, we're like we don't want to let Saejima know the plan, and then somebody lets Saejima know the plan.
don't they talk
Can't
in
remember
front of
if
him?
it's immediately. Like yeah, it's like Majima like says it like,
Immediate.
directly in his face. Like,
Yeah.
I
We
gotta
need to make
say-
sure he doesn't escape and tell everyone. Anyway, let's
Oh
tell
yeah,
everyone.
we should say yeah. I don't know if we actually mentioned the plan at this point, and the reason we now know the reason why people are on Nelly Island or the Yakuza are there at least is because supposedly the secret treasure of Esperanza, which is the one that Jason and Masaru were originally going after when Mortimer, traded them.
Mhm.
It's on Nelly Island. It's all connected. Ooh, there it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can I just say, one of the funniest things in the whole game is them talking about the treasure, and then Saejima's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Exactly. Exactly.
If that's something that I think that's the first time that they do it in the game as well. This game does like 3 different instances where they cut the music.
Yes, I loved
it's so
it.
funny.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I want to say as well, like it's not like to an egregious degree or anything like that, but I did sort of think, because again, like the writing is sort of like differently directed a little bit.
Yeah.
Saejima is kind of like a character of like, you know, big, strong, pissed off guy kind of, instead of his typical like cool, calm and collected. Because
Yeah.
I sort of thought, like, again, it's not to a degree where it's like, you know, it's not Saejima anymore, but he's like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Some kid saves your life and now you're dedicating all this time to helping him out. That's such a ridiculous thing. Anyway, I'm going to go help out the guy who saved my life in the snow by hunting things. It's like, you did the same thing, Saejima. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They're bringing
that-
him back to for Saejima before he was Kyodai this, Kyodai that. I mean, the fact that Majima himself actively... Okay, wait. Let's preface this. Saejima here is, in the context of Japanese comedy, he is the straight man. And
Yes.
it works better than
Yeah.
it should.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I legitimately think Saejima in this game made more sense compared to all of Yakuza 5.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like, all the questions he was asking, like, Majima, what the hell are you doing here? Let's go back to Japan, you idiot. You know,
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's different, but like, I like it.
yeah, same.
Jesus, it makes more sense for his overall development. I think in the script that I wrote for the game, I said this, like the entire final interactions between Majima and Saejima mean more than the entirety of Saejima's screen time from Yakuza 6 onwards. Like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted them to have some like. I think we all like went into the game expecting at some point, you know, something would jog the memory of Majima and get his memories back.
Mhm.
The way they did it with Saejima, which we'll talk about in a bit, was very good. But I just wanted them to have some like really good, meaningful interactions,
Mhm.
and they did. I'm so happy for that.
Yeah.
Mm.
For the
But as you
first
said
time
as well, like the Minami Saejima interaction was also very good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you know how you have the chat bubbles all over the sea when you do them?
Mm.
And there was one where Saejima was like, hey, Kyodai, what's with this Minami guy? He wouldn't let go of the microphone.
Yes.
I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
see." The entirety of that is just, yes, more of that, please.
Dude,
Yep.
doesn't Majima say something like, oh yeah, let him keep the mic, he'll keep the sharks away, or something like that? That was funny.
And
Yeah,
then
it's a separate one.
he comes in and then apologizes and everything, and he's like, you know what? That kid is alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this other one about Nishida having horrible driving. That was also pretty funny. Yeah, I love this so much. And I'm also glad they got like a drink link type of deal as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. A lot of people will say, oh yeah, the critical path is filler, but then look at everything else that's present in the game. There's so much filling out of past character dynamics, and just, it makes sense in the grander whole.
Mm.
Yep.
I kind of wish... Okay, there's like a lot of room for debate here, but I kind of wish some of the speech bubbles were made into sub-stories for those characters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you could argue a lot of those would just be dialogue, but I mean, I don't know.
I prefer doing a sub story like that where it's something I actually like care about than it just being some random thing.
Yep.
Yeah, because the speech bubbles I don't mind, but like at some point of time you probably might say, okay, like there's a lot of these. I kind of wish they were presented a little differently, or at least I kind of thought that way because. Noah has like what 30 speech bubbles.
Yep.
He's got like 38 or something.
Dude,
It's
I don't mind
Everyone
Noah.
else has 5.
Yeah,
It's 10 per to each bond level.
I don't
He's the
mind
only one
Noah.
that has 3 bond drink links. Everybody else has 1.
Yeah.
I really wish
I
some
never
of
did
those.
the drink link as well. I kept ignoring it. I apologize to all
Yeah.
the Noah fans out there.
I mean, you're not missing that much, all things considered, but yeah, it's cute.
I mean, he doesn't help me in combat, so fuck off.
I still haven't done all the Noah conversations. I finished everyone else though. But yeah,
Why didn't we have a Goro one?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that sub story called? The one.
Hearts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sora's heart.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that was adorable, but just imagine him sitting with that cub and it's like, yeah, grr. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The way they played off the ending of that one was also very, very good.
Oh my god, that was beautiful.
I need to do that sub story. I'll try to get to it soon. Right. So somehow they convinced Majima to join them on the pirate journey, right? I think.
I think
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, because like Saijima's there to drag Majima back to Japan, which is unironically what Shigaki would have liked in the first place.
Mhm.
So this whole harebrained scheme to his is already out the window.
Mhm.
But Majima's like, I want to show this kid, the world. I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. I got amnesia. Go away.
Mhm.
So basically, Saijima, I think, is just there as like all right, just let him do this shit, and then we'll just drag him
Yeah,
back. It'll be fine.
Look
Yeah.
after this kid. And by kid, I mean Majima.
Yeah.
Like, he's known him long enough where he's like, I've seen it already, let's get him out. Let him get it out of his system, he'll be back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think not long after that you meet the New York moneylender, the what's his name, Tucker, right?
Tucker.
Tucker, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he puts you through like frickin' 50 tests in order to like actually talk to you. And then you finally get to talk to him, and then he tells you everything about like this treasure and how there's like this island. What was it called again? The Heretics Island, was it?
The
Yes.
village of
The Heretics
yes.
Village.
The
Yeah.
village, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently that's like where this Esperanza treasure is buried and all that. And long story short, basically you assemble the crew. You guys go there, you find the treasure, and then it turns out, or I might have missed a couple of things, but we'll get to it.
With Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an important one, yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so Rodriguez. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I can't remember if this actually happened, but when we first approached that house, don't we bump into a bunch of rocks that turn out to be
Yes.
something very important
One
later?
of the
Yes.
characters.
Yeah.
One of the characters trips over. I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
think
the
it was
name,
Noah.
but one of them does.
It's Majima, isn't it? And he's just like, what the fuck's with all the rocks?
Yeah.
Either him or Noah, and I was so pissed off at that because dude was immobile for the entire story, and then towards the end, now you decide to get off that fucking chair to
Man's
clean up
gotta
a
clear
yard.
his rocks up.
He has to conserve his
That is-
energy, man.
That is unfortunately like what dementia is like. Like as someone that's had a family member just go straight for it. That's what it's like.
I did think, I mean, it wasn't really like thoroughly explored, but the dynamic between Rodriguez and his dad was kind of heartwarming in a way, because like, you do see people like that, in real life, so it kind of showed the human side of Rodriguez, and I liked it.
When did we get the diary? I can't remember when it happens.
I don't think we ever get it, no, because the guy
Wait,
burned
didn't
it.
Tucker burn him? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, he
Oh yeah,
supposedly
Spade
memorized it.
Tucker.
Yeah.
What a name.
Oof.
He gets introduced around this point as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so like you fight Rodriguez, and then you get him in on your plan as well, and then you go meet Tucker, I believe.
You find out that Rodriguez is working with Raymond Law, who's
Yeah.
the king of Madlantis,
Yeah.
just to bring those back.
King of pirates.
Yeah.
Yup.
And that whole like relationship does not go well at all because Raymond very quickly betrays Rodriguez.
Yep. Trains everyone. Can't
Yeah.
trust the pirate.
He does.
I just want to quickly say, I think Rodriguez is a really good character, and I also think Shigaki's hilarious because he's like, Majima, I'm tough. Okay, sorry, jeez. And
Yeah.
like tries to act all tough, and then just instantly like, oh.
Yeah.
He feels like an honorary member of the Majima family. He would fit right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I really do like the portrayal of Shigaki though, because that indecisiveness I think is pretty human.
Yeah,
At
very
least
much.
if you were to ask me. Yeah. But yeah, going back to like the crew, you know, they find the Esperanza treasure. They relay it to Tucker, I believe, but also Rodriguez says it to Raymond. I forget what happens after that, but I think that's when. Yeah, sorry, go on.
There's a lot of interconnecting going on behind the scenes, but the whole build-up towards, because this is just the political side of it. We need to get everyone in one place, and then they start looking for the treasure. But the one thing that's probably the most important in that connecting one person to another, the whole Yubitsume chat on Nele Island, where Majima actually intimidates everyone into cooperating. Because at that point, everyone has bits and pieces of info, but none of them can find the treasure on their own. And then he slowly describes how he would get rid of everyone's fingers and everything.
Oh,
and
that was so good.
Yes.
That was so
that right
good.
there is Yakuza Majima. That's the ferocious side, and it's love it. Also,
Yes.
we saw bits of that during the interactions with Saejima. So it's like, yeah, he's still there. He's just not showing it necessarily. That's a very Majima thing.
I also love how Tucker goes from like what 80% of the share to like 10%.
Yeah.
Like-
Them constantly arguing is so funny.
Yeah.
That is the weakest negotiations I've seen in my life.
No, actually, that reminded me a lot of the, you know how you go to the, I think, Odyssey Club in Zero, and then Majima just looks around and it's like, oh yeah, this spot is in a pretty shitty situation. And you know you have the upper hand, you just negotiate the other person's the share or value lower and lower. The whole thing with Tucker, again, reminded me of that, even though Majima wore a pirate outfit the entire time.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I like all your rings showing up the cutscenes as well.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, you can literally, like, there's an option in the game to turn that off, but I like it on.
Oh, yeah.
S&M ring
Oh
totally
yeah,
fits
it's
in.
to turn off your cosmetics in cutscenes as well. I forgot about that.
Yeah. There's a lot of options, right? Like disabling this and that.
Yeah.
Disabling the button inputs in the corner. That was nice.
Yep.
Could you do that in Lost Judgment?
Nope.
Damn.
It was like a partial.
I
one,
don't know
so-
why. No, it was just they were just there forever. You couldn't get rid of them.
Yeah, and now
Mm.
the
I still
when
don't
they
understand why
say-
they do that.
When they say hide full UI in this game, they do mean it, which is good.
Holy hell. Good.
It doesn't work in the ship exploration though, does it?
It doesn't work in combat.
Oh god.
Again?
Yeah, when you hide full UI, it doesn't do anything in combat. It says it this time though. They're not a bunch of dogs.
Baby steps.
Why do they do that?
I don't
Like,
know.
who's going to use the hide HUD feature except for people like me? Why just half-ass it?
I'm guessing this is just another way to spite Kurohyo even further, because that's a game that didn't have anything, and it's like,
It didn't have any
it's
HUD,
hell well.
Yeah. We'll talk about quality of life later as well, for sure, because there's quite a bit to talk about. But let's try to wrap up with the story, because we're 2 hours in almost.
Yeah, we have hit chapter 4 at least. Also,
Yeah.
we did mention that like Rodriguez's father, the reason why this all kicked off was because Majima found a piece of 8 on the floor, which is the thing that leads like everyone into knowing all the treasure does exist.
Yeah. So
And Rodriguez to go wild and fight you in a boss fight, which is really nice.
yeah.
Good fight.
That was cool, yeah. Did we just skip over the fact that Mortimer dies?
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
trying to remember
Wait.
which part that's in.
I don't know when that happened.
It's another bit of filler where you have to get the right like Colosseum fight and then
I
like,
think
fake ass
it's-
banner.
I think it's in chapter 4, if I remember right.
I think so.
Well, we are technically there, because the whole, oh, we need to go after the treasure, blah, 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 it's around that time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I
I mean-
remember before you challenge Mortimer, the guy at the registration's like, hey, you need this cannon, and that's when you go get the
Oh,
It's from
yeah,
Keith
And
in
then-
bloody Honolulu.
cannon. Yeah, Ethan.
And you'd literally go back as
Whatever
like,
his name
let's do some random fights here. It's because RGG really love making a set piece out of their cities. They really do.
Yeah, I mean, that was
Yeah.
cool. having like a pseudo long battle in
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Oh my god, I infinitely prefer this over the stupid thing that Infinite Wealth did, where once you
Oh,
go through the
God.
protagonist switch, you have to walk around town and you have very aggressive
Oh,
enemy encounters that you just need to deal with.
yeah.
Here,
Yep.
here you didn't have the issue of needing to keep every party leveled up. It's like, hey, here's a fight, go nuts.
Yeah.
And then you also have the cool bit where they like blast the front of the hotel with cannonballs from Jack the Collector.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man
right,
just goes,
right.
man just goes full heck it. Everyone does.
Not the fish in the pool. You know what I'm talking about? Just the random ass fish that's there.
Yep.
Yep.
The bluefin tuna.
So funny.
RGG are very good at like I one specific thing I went and did was went and looked at the nightclub building that Yamai owns to see whether the damage was still there. And they had the tarpaulin over the actual hole in the wall where, you know, Itchy decided to ram a goddamn excavator through it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I didn't go back to the hotel. Did they have actual like damage on the hotel
I-
after that scene?
I didn't
Yeah,
notice. I gotta check.
Yeah, I need to check as well.
Same.
Hmm.
RGG are usually good at that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to
Shangri-La
say as
syndrome.
well, with that like Mortimer Armada long battle you do with Keith and the cannon and shit, it plays the like Mortimer Armada battle theme, and then when you get to like
Yeah.
the final section where it's Keith and other guy, it plays Mortimer's like boss theme.
Huh.
Ooh, cut content. Maybe Mortimer was super. Maybe Baba's voice actor got too busy, and it's like, oh well.
Yeah,
Maybe.
put someone else here.
'Cause, I mean, think
Yeah.
of it. We don't really have that many pre-rendered cutscenes with him. There's one point where he just appears in front of you, and I think it's literally just text boxes while you're at the Coliseum reception, whatever. He's like,
Yeah.
we will encounter later.
Yeah.
He is like a sub-story character, but he's like
Basically.
a main character.
Man.
He is actually. I was gonna say because we are talking about Mortimer now. In terms of story, you know, I didn't give a shit about Mortimer because again, he just sort of rocks up. He's like, "Hello, I'm going to kill you." And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But
he's supposed to be
in
like one of
terms
the
of-
big important three, and he's just
yeah,
side
yeah,
content.
exactly. He's supposed to be a big dog in the Pirates in Mad Atlantis and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of gameplay, I have to say he was an extremely cool boss fight. And
Yeah.
even though it wasn't, you know, exclusive to his fight, his theme was also really cool.
Yeah.
But I also gotta say, his
Like,
death scene feels kind of insulting, like meta levels of
Yeah.
insulting. Because like the
No,
guy
this is
shoots
Jungi.
at him 15 times or like 20 times. Like, bro, chill, he's dead.
Yeah, but then also Majima and the others, like while the guy's shooting like a centimeter away from them, they're looking around like, "Where's this coming from?" It's there. It's right there.
Jesus. It just reminded me of Yakuza 6 with Jungi. It's literally, why did you kill someone so important? Supposedly
Yeah.
important.
Yep.
They were just like, "Oh, we can't figure out how to write this guy. Make him a fucking sub-story character. Put some text boxes there. Kill him."
Yeah, I
Yokoyama
think
be like, what's that? Poof, poof, poof.
Mortimer is probably like the most insulting character writing-wise. Because like, what the hell, man?
Honestly, I liked him quite a bit because it feels like a Yakuza 2 or Yakuza 1 type of villain. Where he's like, he looks cool. I wish we got more of him, but he was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna remember him, but I am gonna remember the fight just because of the mix of like ship combat and then the
The boss battle.
one-on-one swashbuckling sort of shit, and then you like actually fight him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
pretty
very
cool. So once Mortimer dies, is that when like the final stretch starts? I don't remember.
I kind of think so. I think it's around that point.
Right.
Yeah,
So
because I think that's around the point where we wanted to get Tucker out of Atlantis, but then Raymond
Yeah,
aimed all of the cannons at the intro, and it's like you have to defeat Mortimer to leave. And
right.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's really stupid because one, why does Raymond still do that? And two, why don't we just get him out anyway? Like,
I mean, yeah, fair
like,
point.
it feels like the weakest threat against anyone ever of just, oh yeah, you're not allowed to leave until you kill my friend.
And to be fair, there's a lot of cannons there, so we can't really say no. And then number two,
we do
it's
go
pretty
through. We do
Yeah.
go through the grand plan of. Oh god, I kind of like the logic behind this, so I hate saying this is a negative. But you have like the grand plan of everyone working together to disable the cannons at the same time, and somebody, I don't remember who, says, "How the hell are you going to get all these guys to work together at the same time?" And it's like, yeah, it is these idiots. You're right.
I mean, yeah.
And then they do it anyway later in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
forget. I'll need to do a detailed overlook over this, because there are certain parts that are like, this doesn't make any bloody sense, even in the context of a more leeway heavy story as a spin-off.
Yeah.
But
I can get
I'll
it.
figure
I
something
think the
out.
thing that is worse for me is like when you first go to, Spade Tucker and he just buggers off on a speedboat. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I like that leads
Oh.
into a really cool set piece and with
Yeah.
a really unique kind of boss enemy with that robot where they want you to use your jump attack to hit it in the
Yeah,
back
that
to
was so
disable
cool.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I
Jeez,
like
that was
that a
so cool.
lot.
Yeah, same.
But- It's just such a weird bit of just, all right, let's go back now. Okay, bye.
Yeah, that was also
We're done.
as I was walking into the cave. That was when one of the times the game crashed. I was like,
Oh,
Oh no,
No.
unlucky.
good thing I'm a save whore. I save like every 2 seconds. People on my
Same.
streams are
Hell
just like,
yeah.
"Why you just saved?" And I'm like, "Shut up."
if you've played PS3 Dead Souls, you'd know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Preach.
If you played Skyrim as well, you would know.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
PS3
why-
Skyrim.
Yeah.
That's why the file is larger than the PS3, because it always saves the map over the map over the map.
I only have 30 minutes of playtime in Skyrim on PC because the first time I played Skyrim on PC, my hard drive corrupted, and then when I went back to it,
Oh.
my motherboard broke. And like, it's
What?
not Skyrim's fault, but I'm blaming
classic
it on Skyrim.
Bethesda.
Like, I've literally never gone back to Skyrim. Never.
That is an unfortunate sequence of events close to each other. Goddamn.
That
Don't
crap's
worry,
cool.
it's the water graphics. It couldn't handle it.
Completely unmodded as well, just completely vanilla when it came out. Like, that crap's
Oh,
cool.
dear
I ain't going
God.
back to it. I'm not going back. Heck you, Todd Howard. You owe me a
Thank you, Todd Howard.
Saved him from mid.
Okay, we gotta talk about. I think it's not long after where we left off, but the squid fight.
Squid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good reuse of asset and an actual. I really like the fight. I think it's good fun.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so for the viewers, you have to go to this island to actually find the treasure, and the guardian of that island is a giant-ass squid. It results in a very unique boss fight. It's like a ship battle, where you like fight parts of the squid, and then, the squid itself as well. And it's fairly challenging, but it's not, impossible.
Oof.
But yeah, what you guys think? Let's start with Snowiest.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It's like, typical RGG reusing assets all the time. But I have to say, something I've always noticed throughout the series is that, like, besides like sub-story music and that sort of stuff, they don't often reuse songs. And so I was thinking before with like Pelicanian Dance is from Infinite Wealth, and then Tyrant of the Ocean is the like giant squid boss theme. It's a small thing, but because I pay attention to the soundtrack a lot, I'm just sort of like, oh, this is cool. It's like it's the same fight, but like it's very different. It's again with the Pelicanian guys. It's like it's the same fight, but it's very different, and they're using the same theme
Yeah.
instead of remixing it.
I'm
That's just a little thing.
taking this in a slight tangent real quick because Snowiest, you know, they keep reusing Fist of the North Star music in this game, don't they?
Yeah, I did hear. Yeah.
It keeps triggering me. I'm sorry.
Which song?
I had to.
It's just the casual bum bum ba dum bum 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 theme, and it's just
I can't. I don't want more Fist. Leave me alone, please.
Bro, all of Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise has ejected itself from my brain, so I didn't even
You're
notice.
so lucky. I wish I was you.
I think it's kind of the
They
other
used
way
a
around
song
for
that
me.
played like once in Infinite Wealth like 17,000 times. That it's the song that's like. I forget what it's called.
I do love that they brought back the sad sub-story music yet again.
I was gonna say they. I don't think they used it as much as I thought they would, but
Not
then
as
again,
much, but
I
used both versions. Like
Yeah.
the one that they keep using and the other one that they've been using more recently.
yeah, I didn't finish all the sub stories as well, so maybe there's more examples of it.
There
I don't
is.
know.
There
Okay.
is. Don't worry. It's everyone's favorite track, and you'll hear it.
But wait,
Sorry, I didn't mean to
there's
take it away
also-
from there, but music.
It's okay.
There's also the theme in the critical path is just the sad theme that was also in Infinite Wealth. I remember someone complaining about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like, do you only have one song in the OST? And it's like, it's the sad theme of the main line for which this is a side story. What else would they add there?
Mm,
I don't mind the music reuse when it isn't done too much, because like I complain, I don't like Fist of the North Star, but like having the Fist of the North Star music reused for this isn't that egregious because they've not done it with anything else.
mhm.
And like I also don't mind because when it comes to they're bringing it back to Snowiest's point. When it comes to most big fights, it's unique music. This time, it's obviously a little different with the Palakana one, which you do get actually a sick Palakana remix in one of their fights at some point, which that's cool.
Oh yeah.
But most of the time, it's the big boss fights. It's new music, like, or it's like a remix of the previous music. Like again, I said this before. I adore the quiet build-up Omi Alliance theme in LAD to the more rocking version, to the fact that Kiryu gets his own Omi Alliance theme in Guidance for one
it's literally
fight.
the Kiryu version. It's cool.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
I love it when they do that, and like they do it at points here, so I can forgive them for reusing the sub-story music, because they've obviously put the effort into hey, for one fight, here's a Palakana remix, and it bangs. Like enjoy.
Also, the Sajima theme remix. Holy hell, what a good
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
That one that they played in a Reuse live stream like a year ago.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
People
that
noticed
was
like, what the fuck?
Holy hell. Sajima Gaiden.
It's kind of like Fog in Lost Judgment, right? It plays in like one very small section of a set piece in Lost Judgment when you get to Sour's apartment, and everyone's like, "This is so great. Why are you not used it again in this game?" And then Kaito uses it an extra 3 times, and it doesn't get overused, and it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And also, it's in the gauntlet when you're like climbing to the
Yes.
gambling hall
Yes.
for some reason.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about the music as well, because I've heard mixed reception for Pirate Yakuza in particular, but right. So
Squid.
yeah, Squid.
Sorry, Squid.
No, it's fine. Once you beat the Squid, you get like this really cool cutscene of like flashback where it turns out Majima actually fought the Squid, and that's how he lost his memories. He got beaten by the Squid, like washed on this island, and yeah, that's how the game starts. Now, why did he come to Hawaii? We still don't know. We get to know that at the very end. But yeah, he came along with Minami and Nishida, and yeah, he lost against the Squid. But now he wins, and they find the treasure. And that's, I believe, when... is that when Rodriguez contacts Raymond?
Yes, and then the
Yeah.
Shigaki moment happens. I just
Yeah.
want to say as well, like with us like saying this about the plot, you don't fully know whether or not Majima's got his memories back at this point, and the game
Yes.
plays it very, very cool
Yeah.
about that, and I kind of like that a lot.
Yes, it's very ambiguous, yeah.
Indeed.
Raymond contacts Rodriguez, that he informs him that they found the treasure, and some argument starts like, "Yo, what's going on here?" Shigaki's like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" And then he basically turns against them. Now Raymond also betrays Rodriguez, so Rodriguez is like, "You know what? Screw you. I'm gonna side with these guys." And yeah, so because Shigaki is now kind of not sure whether he wants to be with us or not, we fight him. Shigaki kind of ends up stabbing Jason, but it's kind of awkward because like he didn't mean to, but he also meant to. Like, it's kind of in the middle because he wanted to go for Noah, but Jason jumps in front of Noah to protect him, and then he gets stabbed.
And he didn't want to stab Noah either. He said, he just wanted to threaten the
Threaten him.
kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've seen so many people say this bit is stupid, and it is stupid, but I think Majima sums up so succinctly in just, you did a really dumb fuck thing, now get up, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes something stupid like that is needed. Something like that is just, the driving force of the plot. And like,
Yeah,
is it
and it's
done
like
a little, badly? Kinda, but...
he's all
He's an
panicked
ass.
as well because he wants it's like, here's the thing we've been looking for this whole time, and you're about to
Yeah.
fuck this up, and he's freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Makes
like,
sense.
we should mention like Majima's they again we talked about this very briefly. They've taken Moana hostage, which again, who remembers Moana from 4 chapters
Yeah.
ago?
Yeah.
Literally, Majima's plan is I'm going to trade the treasure for her life, and that's why Shigaki's like, no, I want this. This is my money.
I want to say with Shigaki as well, I feel like that drives home the classic, like the human side of the Yakuza very well.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Yeah, and I like as well Rodriguez, even though he's like, oh, Raymond betrayed me and whatever, he does show something that like the Pelicanian zealots didn't show, which is compassion towards children, because they're just like, I don't, like
Exactly.
convert them to our culture. But here, Rodriguez he's different. He's built different.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah,
And
I
also
ended
with
up.
regards to go.
I was just gonna say I ended up like really liking Rodriguez, like pretty much everyone, really. Maybe except Mortimer because he does nothing, but he's cool at least. Yeah, like. Is there anything like you guys want to say about this particular scene? Like, do you think the redemption of Shigaki's dump, or do you think it worked? I guess Froob already said it, but yeah.
I feel like it's just underbaked.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I get the reason behind it. I also get why people dislike it because it is kind of just quickly. The trouble is, it's quickly done because as soon as you leave the cave, it's the ship fight against Queen Michelle.
Oh, that
Like there's that in there.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then obviously the end of Queen Michelle.
Might I add? I feel like Shigaki is sort of the opposite of Baba for me. Like me personally, at least. I felt like Baba took way too much time to cook. He cooked a little too much, and then it just ends up being like okay, I guess. But Shigaki, like I know it's like a really quick redemption, but like you said, the moment Majima was like, you fucked up, come and help us, and just shut up. I actually really like that. So
it's more believable. Yeah. And also, are we gonna pretend like other games didn't have very evident characters acting out of characters so that we can connect 2 points? Remember Makoto going to the Dojima lieutenants expecting their heads?
yeah.
Do we remember Yakuza 4's Chain of Betrayal or 5's rooftop scene?
Yeah.
Like, let's not treat this series as a, David Lynch filmography. We have our fuck-ups. We own up to them.
Yeah. We got the fuck-ups, we also got the parts we really, really love. That's the Yakuza for you. Right, well, yeah, so after that, like Froob was saying, you go after Queen Michelle, because she's also coming in to, like, take the treasure. So you fight this, like, gigantic ship, and I died, like, 5 times here before deciding, you know what?
Oh my god.
I need to go level up, and then that's what I did.
Yeah,
Wait.
I didn't because of the fact that I'd done like all the side content. But from what I've been hearing from people like testing the speedrun, this is the point where if you haven't been doing side content, oh god, it's hell.
Yeah.
And it's also the part where kind of in my like casual playthrough as well, I kind of realized I am so tired of gun enemies. Because every single gun enemy is Daejim Bloody Kim from Kiwami 2, and they run the second you get within a certain range of them.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And the hilarious thing is Majima's spidey senses after playing the game. I go, oh, I see why they did it.
Yeah.
Because how the fuck am I ever going to know I'm going to get shot? It's just constant.
Yep. Yeah, at the beginning of the game, you're like, okay, I guess this is a little redundant, and then you're like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew from like me playtesting the game like a month beforehand that was necessary for some of the big fights with like people with guns, and it's just like, oh crap. Like even by the end, like I realized, no, this sucks. And we don't get them that often. I think we do get them around that point as well. Grenade enemies, they are god awful.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like samurai faction. Have all those explosives.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Wait. Let's go back to Queen Michelle, because I have something very weird to say.
Go on.
I did that with no upgrades.
What? Wait.
Well, hang on. I wanted to ask, what was like everyone's main cannon of choice? Because I assume, I mean, was that the one that just fires like a constant stream?
Yes.
Yeah, I was using the laser cannon.
Because I never got the constant stream one. I just got the one that goes like pew pew pew.
Oh.
And you use the regular cannons,
The energy
and
one,
it does
yeah,
like 0 damage, and then you do the pew pew one, and for some reason that did like 50 billion damage. Am I tweaking, or am I correct? I don't know.
The normal cannons, I feel, are supposed to be there to build up the kind of stagger gauge that they have. I don't know if it's called a stagger gauge, the yellow bar that stops them whilst they like do the repairs. Kind of the same way that like the super coconut gun or the coconut gun is supposed to be like a proficient in that, rather than the freeze cannons that give them a second stop. Which I feel like the freeze cannons are so busted in this game.
Yeah,
Massively so. But yeah, no, like I use the stream laser rather than the energy blasters, which
I see.
Yeah.
Both good. Did anyone use the poo cannons?
No, not yet.
Because
No.
for normal enemies, they were pretty good at just poisoning them, but it's like I don't know what they're like against bosses. Like
Me neither. Didn't test them.
I tested the poo rocket launcher, and that was just kind of You need so many rockets. Like you get 60 rockets, and it takes so many rockets just to apply the poison, and it's just like
One
I'm
would
sitting here getting
say
shot.
Yeah.
it was shit.
Badum.
Oh.
I need
didn't
to
really-
try multiple stuff that I haven't unlocked yet with the ship.
I mean, that's the interesting thing. I think there was an interview on, I think it's also Matten, where they were actually talking about like the ship weapons itself and how they like tried a couple of different ideas. Like even like having the shot speed of the cannons be like similar to like real life, and it's like they scrapped that because it just wasn't fun. And it's like, I wonder how many ideas for cannons and stuff they dropped, because like one thing from like these fights and also like the side content, especially like the end of the Pirates Coliseum, mortars suck. Oh, I hate them so
Oh
much.
yeah.
Like, I wonder if we had them, how they would work. Like,
Yeah, well, it's
if
funny
they would be
because
cool.
I don't know if you guys have played Assassin's Creed Rogue, but
No.
I don't think 4 gave you mortars, but Rogue did, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious because I felt like I was the enemies in Pirate Yakuza in that game. It's just like
yeah,
the mortars in that one are exactly like Pirate Yakuza, where they just destroy everything, except I can't use it in Pirate Yakuza.
Yeah, I think they should have added those for you to use. Because why can the enemy do that, but not you?
Yeah, they can do everything else you can do,
Yeah.
except for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to ask, was the Michelle fight not so good for you then, Snowiest?
No, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought, like the ship combat is fun, but it's not anything special. But what I did think was special when you actually go on the deck and you have like your whole pirate crew with you in a long battle. I thought that was cool.
yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how not long after that part, Queen Michelle just does not exist anymore.
Yeah, like it's that whole RGG thing of they don't want you fighting women, so we have to remove her from the story. But how do we do that? We are going to give you another reason by showing you that the other main bad guy is a giant piece of crap. And give you a reason to not like him, despite the fact that you've got no reason to like Queen Michelle at the time anyway.
Yeah. They don't want you fighting women, and they also don't want you killing the bad guy, but they know that if the bad guy lives, it's going to cause problems, so they kill them some other way.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it's right after that, I believe, that you just go for Raymond, right?
Yeah. You start with
Kind of.
obviously
Yeah, pretty much.
the Majima being tortured into the really cool what's her face? Not Moana, other one.
No,
Naomi.
Naomi, yes, the Naomi Saijima team up segment and that beautiful OST remix.
Yeah.
Yep,
The name,
that's
though, Receive the Arousal.
The
Who
Arousal.
named
Yeah.
That's certainly a choice.
it? It certainly is.
I mean,
But I
between
love-
that and the sperm veil, they were really going off it.
What I really like about like the cutscene leading into that set piece is like Saijima spells it out for the player in that like in the cutscene like where Jason is stabbed, Majima is full on Majima. He just calls Saijima Kyodai,
Yes.
and it's like you kind of get that knowledge at that point of he does have his memories. Like
Yeah.
he's back.
Yeah.
And, like Saijima just spells it out like the hell are you doing, and then you have that really nice just 1-to-1 between like Saijima and Majima. And that's the kind of stuff that I really wanted from this game, and I'm glad that there was moments like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This scene and another one coming up like way later, it's just like it's so nice to see them having like a casual conversation that isn't just the Yomi Alliance, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Them
great.
being bros, which like they're supposed to be, but there's never really any bro moments between them,
Yeah.
except for like when they kill you in Like a Dragon.
Oh my god,
Which
the
all-
fact that they
yeah.
reused the QTE.
Yeah, as a heat action. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fact
I
that
s-
Saijima's heat action is blade kill, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw that in the game files, and I was like,
I'm
Yeah.
so happy it's not being used against me for once in speedruns because it just kills any speedrun for LAD. Let's go.
And speaking of tag heat actions, I just want to give a shout out to Jason and
Yes.
Masaru getting one as
Yes.
well. And they're
Oh my
new,
God, yeah.
and they're so
Yes.
cool as
yes, indeed.
Yes.
Interesting that they didn't reuse any of the like old ones for your other crewmates.
well. Yeah.
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 They
good.
also have unique activation. They don't have to grab anyone. They just like randomly
glow.
when you have heat go, oi!
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go, yeah.
So I
That's-
guess that's just.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, you carry on.
Now, I was gonna say, like, it's good that you have an indicator as to like when you can do it, but at the same time, you can't control it anymore.
Yeah. I'd want to ask actually,
Mhm.
how do you all feel about the heat actions in Pirate Yakuza? Because I've spoken to a couple of people, and this might just be speedrunner brain rot setting in. All of the heat actions are so long.
Yeah, well,
I think it's
there
particularly
are like the
the Sea Dog ones, right? that are longer.
Yeah, but even
Yeah,
some of
but
the
also
Mad Dog
the
ones are quite long.
Madness Gauge one is like a minute long.
Yeah.
Mm,
I feel
Yeah.
like the heat actions, like they're still really good. Like damage wise, they're completely worth it. Apart from like certain reused on bosses in professional difficulty,
Uh-huh.
but like they just feel so long. Like once you've seen them a couple of times, it's like I really don't want to see these again.
Now that you mentioned
I
that,
also-
yeah, go on, Snowiest.
I was gonna say, there's a much smaller number than in some of the other games, especially like
Yes.
Lost Judgment, because when I did a video a while ago, I went and recorded like most of the heat actions and stuff, and I had so many Lost Judgment recordings and so many recordings in all the other games, and then these ones, it's like 30 something. I don't remember the exact number. But also, here's a weird thing. So Yakuza 6 didn't have a heat action for when an enemy's down on the floor, and it's like,
Yes.
okay, this sucks. This is something that's sorely missing. And then Kiwami 2 added that, and somehow this one also doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But it's not that big of a deal in this one compared to 6.
There's a big question that I want to ask you guys. It's for later, but that goes under, again, this like one big thing that I kind of have been thinking about a lot. But yeah, let's just finish up with the story. We're at the end anyway. So you go through the long battle with Saejima and Naomi, and then once you're done with that,
before, just
yeah,
it was hilarious when you smack the door and nothing happens, and then Saejima comes up and
Oh,
smashes
yeah.
it open. It's like, that's weak shit.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
that was great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And then there's also kind of like the castle long battle where you go through Madlantis, but only a little bit.
yeah. That's
Wait, also-
after this one, right?
No, that long battle like ends with you going to like the Gulf area of Madlantis, and then you move like 2 meters, and then it's over.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
You have
What-
like a chance to like save just before like the very final bit.
Right.
What do you want to say, Gokudoni?
Oh, the whole moment between Majima and Saejima when, well, Saejima just tells him, okay, you know who you are, why are you hiding it? And they've been going on for a while, and there's meaningful music playing, and then Naomi just goes back, music
Yes.
cuts. What the hell are you doing? I've been there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that was great.
Should have just been walking, turn around, and been like, what?
After that, you get like the final stop, right? So you can save, and then
Yes.
once you save, you can talk to Naomi, and then you'll proceed. And then there's the final long battle actually here, where man, you have quite a lineup. Like you have Saejima with you, you have Naomi, you have Masaru, you have
You have
Jason,
your crew.
yeah, Minami,
Yeah, like
not
the
your
main
crew,
crew.
the main, yeah.
yeah. And it's so cool seeing Minami and Nishida shine a little bit here. Like,
Yes.
we got this
Yeah,
boss,
I'm
you
so
go
glad that
on.
they were main characters.
Yeah.
And we do the
Bit
RGB
like,
thing again of everyone
Tsuruno.
staying behind.
Yeah, classic.
Yep.
At least this time it's because no one else has a grappling hook.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. But then, yeah, so once you're done with this long battle, you finally get to Raymond Law, the final boss of Pirate Yakuza. Now, what do we think of the final boss of this game? Snowiest?
Well, why is it that the cutscene before you fight him, why is it just a dialogue cutscene? It's not like a
Yes.
properly animated one.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I was so confused. I was like watching it, I'm like, is Samoa Joe not the final boss? What's going on?
Yeah. They ran out of budget, maybe? I don't know.
That's what it seems like. I mean, because it's like, it's a cutscene where they're talking a lot, and they probably thought like, oh, we can't really like do any sort of cool animated shots. It's just Majima and Raymond just standing there. So just make a dialogue saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
Still is weird.
Yeah. What do you think of Raymond, Gokudoni?
I should probably preface all of this by saying,
Yeah.
Like, I'm really not a fan of the character. I never had any meaningful view of him. It was just like, to me, it felt like the profile of character like Kanae or someone. He's just there to be beaten.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many people say, yo, this is the worst final boss ever, and it ruined the finale. And I'm like, have none of these people played Kenzan? I really want to...
Gone Pope.
If we're going that route...
You're
and then
talking about
if we're
Kenzan,
talking-
man. You're talking about Kenzan. You assume more than 2% of the fan base played that game.
Touche. But then I've seen people say, oh no, it's a massive disappointment gameplay-wise. Do I need to remind you of Final Ryuji in 02 with all the fucking hyper armor? But then, if we're talking story-wise, are we gonna pretend that, I don't know, Munakata from 4, freaking Nikaido from Dead Souls, Kanae from... Are we gonna pretend that they're anything more than the final obstacle that is just there to be beaten?
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm really not a fan of Raymond, but holy hell, this is hardly the worst character that they've made.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, thank you for bringing all of that up. So, he's not a bad final boss, but he's also like not a very exciting final boss. He's fitting for the narrative, right? Because like he's the ultimate like pirate king. Like he's so bad, he's so evil. It's fitting for the narrative, but at the same time, we just had better final bosses. That's really all there is to it.
A good thing at least.
Yeah.
I was going to say a good thing at least was that he didn't try to like have some sympathetic backstory at the last second or try and seem like he's bigger than he actually is. He's just like, I'm a bad guy and I'm here to fight you.
Yeah.
At least that wasn't dragged on or anything.
Yeah.
Dragon.
Oh,
He's just underbaked. I think it's the issue with most of the characters in the game is he's just underbaked.
yep.
Like I don't think he's like a terrible villain. And again, like I feel like a lot of these people, forget Aizawa in Yakuza 5 as the final boss. Like not the actual fight itself, because the fight itself is phenomenal in Yakuza 5.
Yeah.
But just even Aizawa is just like, why am I here? And like, I know a lot of the fandom like pick up on that, and it is just kind of like that. Pirate King has a reason to be there. The Aizawa is just. Daddy told me to sit in the seat, so I'm sitting in the.
I love the meme so much of Kiri saying, "Why are you here?" And then Aizawa just goes, "I don't know, lol."
Oh my god! Thank you so much for bringing it up, because I was like, "Oh man, if I say another word about 5, I'm gonna be crucified." And it's like, "Thank you."
I'm actually surprised all of you are dissing 5 more than I am right now, because usually it's my viewers that are like, Leon, shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to listen to your Yakuza 5 rants.
Listen, it's to get the point across that Raymond Law is not the worst final boss in the entire series. Like, is he
certainly not the
underbaked?
best.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like,
Also, I heard, like, okay, this is not, like, story related per se, but I've heard, oh, this is the worst final boss theme. It's like, do we have a bad final boss theme to begin with?
Oh god.
I don't know.
I feel like these people haven't played that many Yakuza games. I'm gonna say it right now.
Yeah, I mean,
this is gonna be harsh. Iwami's from 6. If I had to be like...
Way of life.
Kinda.
The Way of Life.
Yeah.
Huh.
If
Wait,
I had to be pushed, and even then, it's not terrible. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, if you have to like say, what one is like probably most forgettable, actually Munakata's.
Yeah, like, people remember the vocal version of that
Oh, yeah.
song,
For
not
Faith?
the
Yeah.
instrumental version.
Yeah.
I remember the only reason I know any of those themes is because Daigo's one is in Gaiden and Infinite Wealth. I'm not going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since all my recent times playing Yakuza 4 has been with the music off, but
I will say, Raymond's themes take a bit to get, like, really good. But, man, the chanting in the first
Actually,
half...
Yeah,
the
it's the build-up.
chanting. Yeah, it's
Holy
so
shit,
good.
the answer is once again Kenzan. Because Gunpo
Yeah,
just
I
has
was
the
gonna say
default.
that.
He just has the default boss theme. That's
Exactly.
Gunpo. It's always Gunpo.
Really?
Fuck the Gunpo. Yeah.
Bruh.
that's hilarious. I was going to say though, Froob, with the Way of Life, of course,
no.
you're entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just wanted to say it proves my theory that a song, no matter how good it is, doesn't matter if the fight is shit. And I think the fight of
Yes.
Yakuza 6 is a bit shit.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with
Yeah.
that. The fight is far worse than the track, and I do actually like the build up to the track, like going through that big long cutscene. And
I-
Wait, actually,
that is very good.
wait. To counteract that, Majima Saga final boss. Huh?
Ibuchi.
Huh?
I only
In
dislike it
quotes,
'cause
in
I've heard it a
strong
lot.
quotes, final boss.
But a great musical theme.
Yeah.
That a lot of people
Good
know.
fight intro.
Yeah.
Terrible fucking fight. Why can you counter every move I do, you piece of gun wielding shit? Fuck off.
Thank
Step
you.
Back, Arase, I'm the one.
Thank you guys for
Why did
bringing
I
up...
decide to do 30 rounds of Majima Saga before I went to GDQ? What was wrong with me? It took 4.5 hours. What's wrong with
I
me?
remember that.
God,
Wait, sorry, Leon, what were you gonna say? We keep cutting you off.
It's fine. I was gonna say, thank you for bringing up Iwami, because as much as I love that fight thematically, like for the story of Yakuza 6, saying Raymond is the worst fight when you have Iwami's fight. You know,
Yeah.
like fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Like you have one QT in the middle of the fight, that's it. Raymond,
And it does no damage.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jeez.
With
I'd also,
Raymond,
once again, even though I love the game,
You
say
got
Dead
multiple.
Souls, bad fight, bad music.
I mean,
Mm.
I would disagree with that one technically because do we only count the Oikazuchi Omega or do we also count the fight right before
Okazuchi
it?
Omega. If,
Yes,
if the
I
fight
love that
before it is
theme.
counted, then no.
dude, yeah, for the
I love both of those themes.
for the very final one, for the Omega, you literally stand still and shoot. Like,
Yep.
how
yeah, but the
is
song, holy hell.
Yeah, it is
I
good.
don't want to admit that it took 4 years of speedrunning Yakuza Dead Souls to realize his eye was a weaker point than the rest of him.
Oh,
It was?
Yeah.
God,
The whole, and it's so stupid because if you think about it, the whole theme of the weak spots in that game is it's the thing that glows red. What does Okazuchi Omega have? Two blind
Yeah,
fucking
both
eyes.
of the eyes. Oh no.
well, to be fair,
Yeah.
Kiryu's rifle deals a shit ton of damage anyway, so it
Yes,
doesn't matter
yeah,
much.
Yeah.
Fair.
And
fair.
also, if you're on a harder difficulty, Okazuchi Omega moves his head so much, and trying to aim anything in Yakuza Dead Souls, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to say as well with Raymond Law's final boss theme, I'm listening to it right now.
Ooh.
Because his second phase is like kind of short. I mean, I died in it because
Yes,
my
yeah.
controller temporarily disconnected as I was trying to evade a mortal reversal thing, and I died.
Good God.
But because it's short, you don't get to hear. It's like a minute 50 in. It goes fucking sicko mode savage.
Yes.
And I was at the gym the other day listening to the song, and I heard that part for the first time, and I was like, "This is insane! Can I hear this in game?"
yeah.
So if you think the final boss theme is shit, give it a little listen for more than 30 seconds.
The actual OST version.
Yeah, I listened to
Yes.
the OST earlier as well, and I was surprised. Like, when I was doing the fight itself, it was, I think, decent, but when I listened to the full thing, like, completely, man, it was great.
Actually,
well-
while we're on that topic, I feel like a lot of people have felt kind of they didn't feel that positively or negatively towards the OST because they couldn't fucking hear it. Like I know
yeah.
there were so many instances where you have deck battles and that type of stuff. I didn't know half of
Yeah.
the songs because there was so much noise from people
Yes.
getting slashed and shot.
Yeah,
And then I looked up the OST. I have no idea where any of them play, but they're great.
I
Just,
literally
okay,
had
listen the
to.
OST.
I literally had to decrease my like effects volume sometimes just so we could hear the soundtrack
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to hear a fun fact
Yeah.
Ooh.
with the soundtrack? So, Saori Yoshida, who did like Destiny and Yakuza 6,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's her. This was her, I believe, it's her first time directing one of the game's soundtracks.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
not to sound like, oh, I'm so omnipotent and cool and whatever, but the time like when I was playing through it and listening to the songs and whatever, the whole time I kept thinking like, this feels like a Saori Yoshida song. And it was because of her influence over everything, and this is clearly just like how she directs things, but like that's why, in my opinion, there were so many tracks with vocals and like singing and chanting and all that sort of stuff, because that's what she really likes doing.
Good point.
And I also feel that in terms of the themes, like matching the boss fight or the character and that sort of stuff, like you think about the Queen's theme is it feels very fitting for some person named the Queen from Europe and whatever. Shigaki is like a sort of like a very Japanese theme. Rodriguez's is sort of tribal and all that sort of stuff. And not to say that previous games have had like unmatching themes, but they very much do just do like a cool song for this character. Like for example, like why does Wong To get Gifted Full Halter? You know, like a super
Oh
like
my
techno-y
God, yeah.
dubsteppy song.
Yeah.
Even though it's a sick song, but that's just like, I feel like what Saori Yoshida does is she tries to match the gameplay to the music. And so that's probably why a lot of people like aren't as impacted by it, because it isn't just a cool song, which is what we're used to.
Mhm.
It just blends seamlessly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. And also another fun fact is they typically order the OSTs in order of appearance. And then for some reason, Crush Blow, Shigaki's theme, is like it's ordered in a way where the second fight would have been the first time it plays, but it's not. So there you go. There's a fun fact. It's incorrectly placed.
Weird sequencing, yeah.
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 That is interesting.
So there you go. A bit of Yakuza composer appreciation.
Hell yeah.
We're all flabbergasted. It's like, holy hell, that happened.
Yeah, like you said, I did notice like a bunch of vocals, and like a lot of those songs I actually really like. There's one song, I'm gonna send it right now, but I listened to this today. Somebody told me like to listen to it. I loved it.
Yeah, that plays in the Pirates Coliseum. I mean, I don't know if you could play it like here in the podcast, something like that.
I might, yeah, in the background.
It's a Yuri Fukuda song, which is why it sounds like Skate Rat from Lost Judgment, and also it sounds like the JoJo's Stardust Crusader theme or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. Yeah, this is JoJo Part 3. Holy cow.
Yeah, I heard people in my chat, they were just saying JoJo, JoJo, JoJo.
Yeah.
But yeah, great theme.
Right. It's funny because like I've actually heard a lot of people like really positive about this. I've heard a lot of people say this is like the best soundtrack since like Yakuza 4. Like,
Really?
Ooh,
Like, yeah.
really?
I saw a
I've
lot
heard
of the opposite.
positive about it.
Same.
Yeah, well, I guess it's very dependent on like your taste in music.
Yeah. I think if you're not a fan of the more recent RGG kind of electro beat, you're probably not gonna like the soundtrack a lot. Like,
Yeah, like the giant robot boss theme,
yeah,
being like a knife party song.
yeah.
Jeez. To be fair, this is basically the polar opposite of Gaiden's OST. Because I remember praising that one for feeling like the OGs, like OG 1 and 2, because there was a lot of metal there. There was a song in Drop B, for fuck's sake. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, Gaiden also has like a lot of good tracks. I think, what was it called? Bring It On might still be my favorite like random encounter theme. Hell yeah, love it so much.
Done by Keitaro Hanada, who did like most of this game's soundtrack as well.
Yo,
So
okay.
he's found his keys to Sega since Lost Judgment, and they were like, "Bro, just make like 1 million songs." And he goes, "Sure."
Boom, easy money. Right. So once you, I guess we can talk a little bit about what was it called? Raymond has like an action sequence, like a transitional one where you jump from the castle down to like the garden. That was cool. And then you get one more quick time event where he changes his weapon to like a sword. Actually, no, wait. Am I mistaken?
He has a spear, then he goes to a sword.
Yeah. Yes.
So is it 3 things in total, and then the last one is the QTE on the zipline?
The QT on the zipline is to lead into the final part of the fight.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's got the cool shot of Majima chasing after him.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen
Instead
people
of like using his own cutlass to go down the rope, he like uses his chain hook to chain hook to Raymond. I think.
I think it would have been cool if they gave him like a finisher QTE, which there's none, but you know.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like the game doesn't end on like a final QT like pretty much all other RGG games. It just ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even Like a Dragon did, and it was the only quick time event in the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost want to say what comes after that makes up for it, because man, I did not expect for Majima to just kill Raymond, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Problematic role model.
Like, yeah. To be fair, Majima did give him a chance, but he just had to pick up the knife and go after him. So, I mean, you know, he got what was coming to him.
The best
that was
part was
such a cool
Majima
scene.
just saying, you know, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, another Pirate Yakuza bit of humor that I loved. Hey, Raymond, are you okay? That was so good.
That's so Majima as well.
It is. It is. Like, a lot of moments in this game... Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say that's also another thing of how it like feels like it's like different people that made this one, because I feel like they wouldn't ever have done that in a previous game. It would have been like some other character just appeared out of nowhere and sniped Raymond in the head instead of Majima like basically spider kicking him into a deep hole and killing him. Not that I'm opposed to that. I'm kind of sick of like characters just being like just kill him and then they don't,
Yeah,
and then someone else does.
yeah.
Jeez. I half expected Majima to have a one-liner where he's like, "Have you ever heard of Gojira? My favorite song is Flying Whales," and then he kicks him into the pit.
Yeah, that whole bit was great. And then it cuts to the scene where, man, I did not expect for us to get like a power friendship scene, but that was it.
Yeah.
Like at first you're kind of on edge, like, okay, who's gonna like betray us now, and who's gonna be the true final boss? You know, something like that.
Yeah.
But then no, like Tucker, this old like rich dude, he's like, you know, guys, we're all gathered here today because of like a very fortunate sequence of events. You know, we got like cult members, we got like a group of like ex-Yakuza, and then we got a guy who lost his memory, and then, you know, like, we're all here gathered And it's because all of you are here that all of this was possible. And then I was at a loss for words. I don't know if I expected that.
Yeah, no, same.
But I don't know. I loved it, honestly. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think it was a nice note to end on.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
A lot of people have said like, oh, this was a very predictable story. I would argue that the ending was anything but predictable in a lot of ways.
I agree.
Starting off
I
with that whole
agree.
fucker speech.
Yeah.
I think it's the scenes that happen after that are so interesting because I don't remember the last time. Like, I know this was obviously, an 8-side story. But I don't remember the last time. Like, even Gaiden, to a degree, didn't do this, where, other than the scene with, like, the ring in Hawaii, the ending scenes in Pirate Yakuza actually have some really interesting and heavy implications for the future of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everyone's going to become a dancer.
Yeah.
Majima's finally found
like,
his true calling.
It's like the for those who haven't seen or are just like wondering where we're talking about, this is where we go back to seeing like Majima like in the TV film studio, which they hinted at once, like at the end of like I think it was chapter 3. Like and like Ichi's there. Like just randomly, like
Yeah, just randomly shows up.
Because Goro is obviously in Japanese, like Ichi's voice actor, and it's like the one thing I love about that scene is that Ichi is still fucking shit terrified of Majima the
Yeah.
entire time.
Yeah, but it's also funny how he doesn't believe him. It's like, Ichiban, what?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
you even admitted yourself
I
you
know.
also fought a giant squid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Jesus.
what I find interesting, like we'll talk about the big dance off after, because I love that.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, leading into that dance off, you have like the conversation between Majima and Ichi, and like Ichi's playing off like, oh yeah, I would like to meet those girls. It's like, the fuck did you do with Sayako?
Oh my god,
You
yeah.
really fucked up.
Yeah, that wasn't Ichiban at the end. That was some dude like cosplaying as him. I swear to God, it's just it feels so not Ichiban. It was kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Because the interesting thing is, in the cutscene replayer for that scene, like in that first scene in the TV studio, it's titled February 2025.
Yes.
That's the name of it. So it is it is the most up-to-date actual LAD law. Like, so that this is important. Like this are the bits where these is genuinely important. And like, Ichi's obviously still shit scared of Majima, which is so funny. Like I love that so much. But
Yeah, Majima-
Majima's comment toward Minami of being like, "You're the only guy who gets dumber with age," is like,
Yes.
it's perfect. That's it. That's all I need to hear. Thank you.
Seeing Minami and Nishida interact with Ichiban was uncanny, not gonna lie, but it was like uncanny in the best
Yeah.
way possible.
Yeah.
Like I like the fact we don't need an explanation as to why Ichi is there with them, but it also has some interesting implications. Like, is that going to lead into Lad 9? Like, what is he doing with them? Is he just
Yeah.
there? He could just be there. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what if he's helping them with, the project? Like, because that's what Ichi does. Like, that's Ichi's beginning of Infinite Wealth, is he's helping ex-Yakuza find a life. Like, that's
Yeah,
what
but why make a
Majima is
movie?
also doing. Yeah. Well, I think the movie is for a certain somebody.
I mean,
Because the
but then
the
he
same line
explained
with...
it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Like,
You
I
know,
don't-
yeah.
like it's the same line that he says at the start of the movie is what he says in the hospital room. Like,
Which I
Hmm.
predicted it all those months back. I think I said it in one of these podcasts where I said, "What if it's actually Majima telling this story to Kiryu?" And
Yeah,
then it
I
kind of
remember
was.
that.
yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So boom, Yokoyama. He's in here right now. He's watching this.
Yokoyama officially owes you $10 million. Congratulations.
But I guess
10 billion
before
yen.
we get into the other interesting cutscenes, how did we feel about the dance number?
I
love
love it so much.
It's so fucking funny.
I love
So
it.
funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. 20 out of 10.
Saejima busting a fucking...
The old guy, the 200-year-old guy. Right.
Yeah, and then all the dead people as well. It's
Yeah.
like
Yep. Queen Michelle.
it's
and
very
Rufus.
clearly not canon,
Yeah.
despite the canons in the game.
Ichi's
Oh.
illusions once again are going wild.
Jesus. I actually preferred this a lot more than the opening number, because the
Yes.
opening felt too Disney. Because it's like, I get what you're going for, but it's
Yeah,
too cheaper. But
I
as an
get you.
ending, again, a game like God Hand, for anyone that played it, it also has a very upbeat ending, beautiful dance off with everyone. This reminded me of that. It's just more tropical, and I love it.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever watched Bollywood movies?
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is Bollywood. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like a
Yeah.
random fucking dance scene out of nowhere. Now, admittedly, Bollywood movies overdo it a lot. There's like 5 fucking dance scenes in the middle of the movie, but this one was just like one dance scene. It was at the very end. I loved it.
Well, I was gonna say it's more, like more. I really just don't know what it is, but it's just more evidence to me thinking that it's like different people who made this. I mean, because again, the like director who shows up first in the credits, that guy apparently was like relating. He did like combat work in some of the previous games, but now he's like the director.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know, but it's like that's something that would never have happened in a previous Yakuza game, not because they were serious back then, but just because like they wouldn't end it on a funny note. They would end it on like a, Kiri fucking crying his eyes out.
Yeah.
Mm.
I really do like as well that with a spin-off, they're trying to utilize different staff in different ways. Like,
Yeah.
like a lot of
I mean, like Yuri
veteran
Fukuda
staff.
directing the soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'm not
a
Yuri
lot
Fukuda,
of like
serious.
veteran staff being given a chance.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it feels like handing over a torch, because in this case, like we already talked about it, but the series has been going on for 20 years. So even if the very same people are still working, maybe they won't be as involved in certain parts, and they'll let some of the younger people give it a try. And now we're seeing the fruits of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, a good example of it working well was Ryosuke Hori directing the turn-based games.
Oh,
Yes.
genius.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was the karaoke guy, right?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
still is.
Yeah. We've got
Yeah.
a lot of new good karaoke songs in this game, as well as obviously
Yeah.
classics.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
My one downside, if you can call it that, is that MajiRock was only a CD and not an actual karaoke song.
Yeah.
Wait, it's a CD?
True.
Yeah, I don't know if it's.
I haven't
I think
found
it's
it yet.
no, I think it's part of the deluxe edition.
I think it is.
Oh, well, I didn't scroll through it. Well, oh, thank God. That was literally the big negative in my review, where it was like, where's Majima no Majirok? The same people who composed it still work at RGG. Why isn't it a karaoke song?
I didn't
Xanta.
realize it was going to be like a CD in the deluxe edition. Like I just like opened up like the playlist in game and I was like, MajiRock, what? Why is that there?
Well,
Yeah.
There's the album that's like the Majima karaoke songs with the red background, if you know what I mean. Same one with Kiri
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I think Maji Rock is in that one.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
it's like
it is.
clearly like an iconic Majima karaoke song that they've just never used.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they like got like Dead Souls Get to the top out of PS3
Yes.
hell, but like you
Yes.
could have a little bit more with MajiRock. Like come on,
Yeah.
you clearly have the rights because it's in the game.
Okay, I'm not gonna ask you guys to give like a number out of 10 for the story, but
Well, we haven't spoken about the last bit yet.
oh yeah,
Oh,
oh yeah,
that's
oh yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think
a very
I think
important
Leon
thing.
was in my chat when I was going through the end credits, and I was like surmising how I felt about the game, and I was like, it didn't have this emotional hook like Gaiden had. It's not, doesn't really feel as like, it's not gonna make me cry, and then it almost bloody did.
Yeah, that did.
punch.
My god damn it.
Have you guys noticed the Majima fit was reminiscent of the TV show one?
I know, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Which, I mean, ironic because Shigaki's actor was Majima in the show, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, the beginning of that scene, seeing more casual conversations between Saejima and
Yeah.
Majima, amazing. Amazing. I loved it so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But also
it's-
the amount of times they said Yume. This now makes a
Yes.
second game that did the Yume thing better than Yakuza 5.
Yeah.
Well, you see, if you play it in English, you don't have to hear Yume.
Okay.
Uh,
Hot
which-
take. Hot take.
Look,
Pirate Yakuza portrayed the whole idea of dreams better than Yakuza 5. I said
I
it.
agree. Yakuza 4 did it as well. In that one scene between Akiyama and Kido, and then Munakata mentioning it at the end. You don't need to say the word 70,000 times to get the point across.
Yeah.
I
Also,
wanted to say as well, just real quick, sorry,
yeah, go on.
with the English dub, it was really good. I apologize to everyone. I played it in English. However, people who are adamant to play the other games in Japanese for immersion suddenly stop talking when 90% of the cast are Americans.
Exactly.
So I played it in English, and like Deborah Wilson's the queen, which is cool, and like Samoa Joe's actually Samoa Joe, and shit, and people who look like they would speak English, and it makes sense, but most people still playing in Japanese anyway. So yeah, controversial opinion, but and also Matthew Mercer's really good as Michael.
I heard
love
them.
the hand wave away at the start of like, don't ask how we got through the language barrier. Bye.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is a video game. We're having fun.
Hell yeah. I really like the color scheme as well in the cutscene. I feel like it was deliberate.
Yeah, like muted colors because of the fact that it's a very serious conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
We'd obviously had like the pre-dance like revelations about the rocks being the elixir of life, and Bryce might actually be like 100 years old, and Rodriguez's dad might be 200, and obviously that was his journal that Spade Tucker read like all those years ago. But it was that revelation of like in the post credits of why Majima was there, like that arc. Oh, that hit! Oh my god!
Wait, now that we're on that, because wait, how do I phrase? I want to be very specific about the way that I phrase this. When a lot of people said that this was a predictable One Piece-esque type of story, my train of thought when Majima said, "Oh yeah, I just took a picture, I didn't take any of the gold," was that he somehow saw the heart of the dragon there and just took it, and he was bringing it over to Kiryu. Because the moment they said heart of the dragon, it's like, oh yeah, this was intended for Kiryu 1,000,000% of the time. And then they go there and it's like, oh, I don't have the elixir. And then I just went, God damn it, never mind.
I'd also like that it wasn't just some like actual thing that was like magical bullshit.
Yeah.
It was just
they heal
ambergris.
him from cancer so that he can appear in another 100 games.
Yeah, it's just some simple ambergris. It's just some Chinese medicine. Like I like that explanation.
Yeah.
It's basic,
like-
but it works.
Yeah.
He's not immortal. He just extends his life, which is what Bryce has done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Also, the implications of the nameplate. It says Kiryu Kazuma, so I mean, Infinite Wealth kind of already gives you that idea, but does that mean he's not with the Daidoji anymore? Like fully cut ties?
Yeah. I also feel like this ending was one to ram home to the people that didn't understand that at the end of Infinite Wealth. Like, there were so many people. I saw this really weird take of, oh god, like he's never met up with Haruka after the fact. Like they'll never meet, and it's like, she's there for him.
Why do people still think that?
Why?
Have people not seen the name of the trophy you get for beating the game? The man who reclaimed his name, or whatever it was. It's there.
No, you don't get it.
Haruto
There
is
has to be a
literally
15-minute
asking
cutscene
about
between
him.
them.
Like he knows.
Yeah.
Like Haruto has obviously seen him before. Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like it's the same as the people who don't get that Hanoae is bloody like Morinaga. Like,
Oh god.
like it's spelt out. Like not directly, but it's spelled out with like pretty much everything other than taking a giant bat to your face and with the name Morinaga on it and whacking you with it. Like like I don't mean to like insult people's intelligence, but how are you this dense? Hello?
Yakuza 5 was made for people like that, so that explains everything, and it still fails. Sorry, go on.
Do you guys think if Infinite Wealth came out 20 years ago, people would praise that ending as one of the best, like, subtle endings of all time?
Yes.
Kojima.
Hell yeah.
Do you think if Nagoshi just had his name on the game, people would say it's the best game ever? Oh
my god.
Pirate Yakuza's shit, but then if Nagoshi's name was on it, oh god, coming. Like, I fucking hate those
I
people.
swear. They're gonna treat the whole NetEase thing as a publicity stunt and it'll be like,
Oh,
I
God.
worked on all of these the whole time, and you people.
It's a little bit of a tangent, but I would like to, like acknowledge, and I think we're all thinking it as well, and that the NetEase news that just happened is horrific.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fact that Nagoshi's game is, who knows, like the fact that it's not going to get funding for advertising, the fact that they just might pull the funding entirely, along with like all their other studios, like they've got some amazing studios there, like Grasshopper, Suda, like.
Oh my god, yeah.
It sucks. Like, and for an industry veteran like Nagoshi to be treated like this, who knows what's going to happen? I think we're all like been very excited for what Nagoshi's doing next, and this news pulls the rug out from under everyone. And
Yeah, I mean,
I
take a
feel
massive
bad,
leap.
Like,
Mm.
yeah,
You take a massive leap to abandon something that like made you who you are, and you're like, I'm taking this risk to do something that I truly want to do, and then the company is just like, fuck you.
Yeah,
And,
like
and like,
To be
the
fair,
issue
that's how
is-
Yakuza came out.
Yeah.
He also had
True.
to risk everything.
the issue
Yeah.
is, like, what does Nagoshi Studio do? Like, if
Yeah.
Sega comes back to them, do you go back to Sega? Like, what do you do?
Hmm.
Like,
as far as I
I'm
know, Nagoshi kind of wanted to leave Sega because he didn't want to keep getting promoted, and that would make him less
Yeah.
involved with making games, I think.
an outcome that I would love would be for Sega to purchase Nagoshi Studio, but treat it like, they're licensing the studio to make games, not like to keep Nagoshi keep going back up the, chain of command. Just,
Yeah.
hey, Nagoshi, here's money, make game.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
kind of like Platinum with Sega and Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like Astral Chain and stuff like that. Yeah. Like just
Th-
they know Nagoshi, they know how Nagoshi works. They've got like, the rest of the staff that were at like RGG, just like buy the studio without like the thoughts of, like conglomerating it back into RGG and just say to Nagoshi, here's money, make it. Do that. Like
I mean, that's
whatever you want to
literally-
do that.
Yeah. It would fix every issue because his problem isn't with the people of Sega. At least from
Yeah.
what I've read, it was the fact that he wanted to keep making games and not making decisions. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
I hope that, I hope that we do see Nagoshi's game. I hope that, all the staff can find a path to keep the studio alive. Like, I don't think any of us want to ever see stuff like this happen. Like, the industry, we mentioned it like previously, the industry is going through some horrific times, and this is another one of those. Like, this is ridiculous, and it sucks.
Yeah, like the poor guy just wanted to like continue making games, and then this happens. It sucks.
Sorry to bring the mood down. It's just with the NetEase stuff. It felt
No,
like the right
I mean-
time to just address it at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't worry.
I think
We'll-
we were
we'll
gonna
get it
talk
back.
about it eventually, anyway.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do hope whatever the best case scenario is, like it does happen with him, because after all this time, like how long has it been? 3 years, I think, 4 years.
A while now, yeah. And he hasn't shown us anything. Not even a
Yeah.
title. Just vague descriptions of it being, brutal.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be marginal game. Watch it.
It's gonna be Project Century.
It's gonna be the Yakuza killer.
Be so funny if he makes Project Century before RGG do.
Yeah.
But it's gonna look like Kurokyo. That's how they're gonna use the remaining funds.
Guys, may I say congratulations. 3 hours in, we're done with the story. And now we have
mean,
the
I think-
whole gameplay section. Yeah?
To be fair, I think we've like covered like parts of this whilst we were talking
Well,
about the
yeah.
story.
True,
Definitely
true,
have.
true. Yeah, like the filler, for example, we don't need to talk about that really anymore.
Yeah, no.
Right, well, gameplay. So, first thing that comes to mind, let's talk about the combat. Now, I think the combat took steps forward, but also steps backwards. There's a lot to talk about here, but should we talk about the fighting styles themselves first, or the upgrade system maybe?
Fighting styles, I think. It leads into
Yeah.
the upgrades.
Right.
cool.
Well, as many viewers know, we have the Mad Dog style and the Sea Dog style. Now, Mad Dog is like a mix of the Thug style from Yakuza 0 with Mad Dog from that game as well. And then Sea Dog is a completely new style that has like multiple tools to it. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you think they mixed Thug and Mad Dog well? Let's start with Snowiest.
Yeah, I definitely think they did. I wish you could do the thug finishes in Mad Dog somehow, and like because I said this in my most recent video,
Mhm.
the double finishes are the knife ones,
Yeah.
but
Oh, good call.
at the same time, like it's good because the thug combos, like they're punchy, they feel natural, and they're fast, especially if you like get combo speed upgrades.
Yeah.
So I think they did a good job with that aspect.
Right. And what do you think, Gokudoni?
I mean, I love all of it. And again, to kind of sadly go into more controversial territory, but I feel like this, just like Gaiden, was a necessary evolution of the combat system. And a lot of people are gonna give me flack for this, so to keep it very, very brief, the many balancing choices that we see here are a way of RGG to get you to use more of your tool set. If there's two things that have been the most overused in the past few games. It was EX heat in both of the judgments and in Gaiden, and then it was juggling in LJ and Gaiden. The fact that we had damage decreases didn't change anything, people still spammed it. So here it was like, okay, heat actions, they don't get a nerf damage-wise, but the gauge is limited. EX heat basically doesn't exist anymore. But we give you more different tools. You have jumping, you have the madness gauge, you have more situational, but admittedly more applicable tools than the agent tools were in Sea-Dog.
Yeah.
So again, I feel like this is a game that's telling you, you need to focus on fundamentals. You need to earn the overpowered tech. And that's what this game does, and I love everything about it. Mad Dog's probably one of the best examples, because it actually works as a hybrid style. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, no, I getcha. Just like to briefly say my thoughts before Froob also adds his take. I think the mix is very fun. Like, it plays out like, you're fast, you have a lot of slashes. And one thing that I like is the slashes actually often break enemies out of the hyper armor.
Yes.
Not always, but I noticed that it does very well. So, like, you can kind of try to play it safe, and it will work pretty well. I do think a few things might be missing. Like, for example, the ground heat actions. Taunting does not give you heat. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's really weird.
There's no upgrade for it even. Hold on, I also have like a whole document here with the stuff like that. So, actually, in the meantime, why don't you say what you think, Froob? Like, do you think they mixed Thug and Mad Dog well or no?
Yeah, no, I think that they mix very, very well. I think that honestly, I just think it's a natural evolution of, like, not necessarily Zero Majima, but definitely the only Majima that we've had in the Dragon Engine, which was Kiwami Saga. Like,
Yeah.
you did Majima Saga and Kiwami 2. You would have been, like, if you made it worse than that, then that would have been outstanding.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that, like, Mad Dog is meant as like a nice, quick, like, fighting style, like the Majima that we know, like, the Majima that can just dip in and out, jump, like the jumping as well. Like, I guess we haven't really mentioned the jumping. Like, the jumping I'd actually do quite like. I think that that's one of those things that, again, if they're going to do jumping in future action games, the next game is going to be well more in depth and a lot more solid for the jumping stuff. This feels like a good, like, introduction. But the fact that, like, with, Mad Dog style, much like with one of the reasons why, like, Kaito's fighting styles in Kaito Files, is the fact that, you can unlock, the uppercut, which is just the strong light, and it is a juggle. Like, it immediately juggles them, and all of a sudden, your entire repertoire just opens up. Like, you can do your air combos, you can switch out with Sea-Dog, which is hyper fast. Like, just I love the way that it all mixes together. And I love the fact that there isn't, like, I love the fact there isn't an instant win button in like Pirate Yakuza's, like, actual combat, because with Gaiden, if you just go into EX and throw the cigarette, that's all the enemies do.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
It's bad. And, like, I love the way that, like, Majima actually, like, mixes styles much better than Gaiden does, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. I was gonna say, I mean, some of the things that I wanted to say were a bit more general, so I might save them. Actually, well, you did bring up the air combos, and I wanted to say they're great, but I think they needed, like, a finisher that had more impact, because a lot of the air combos, like, you have attacks mid-air, but they don't really feel that they don't feel like finishers. I mean, you do have that there's one kick you can do with triangle mid-air, I believe, and it sends enemies flying. That's great, but I think we did need a few more options. But other than that,
it would have been cool if you could press grab and do, like, the Ninja Gaiden move where you, like, tornado down and slam them into the ground.
Oh, hell yeah.
That would have been sick.
Yeah. Do you guys think Sea-Dog is a good style, Snowiest?
Yeah, well, what Gokudoni said earlier with Gaiden's gadgets, and what Froob said as well, the only time I ever used gadgets, I'm going to be completely honest, was swapping into EX Boost and using the cigarette. I never used anything else, like, ever. I barely even used the agent style, but I feel like in Sea-Dog, I was definitely using its like gimmicky weapons more.
Yeah.
And I was even, I was using it as much as I was using Mad Dog, and I felt like with the damage as well between the two styles, I didn't ever feel because Agent was, fine, but I always felt like Yakuza style just dealt more damage, and that may have been just because of the animations and stuff. But with Sea Dog and Mad Dog, it feels like they're both as good as each other, so I quite like that.
Yeah. And do you think Sea Dog is a good style, Gokudoni?
Oh yeah, love all of it. It's basically, to hammer it back to Kenzan, because we keep mentioning it in this bloody episode, it feels like the dual sword style from that game, and then mixing in the situational aspects of Agent. Like, every tool has a very specific utility to it.
Yeah.
Not one, to me, feels like thoughtlessly put in. Speaking as a DMC player, there was so many parallels where it was like, okay, the hook, it basically functions like the other half of Nero's Devilbringer, or an inversion on Spider, which I already mentioned, or throwing out your cutlasses. It's basically how Trish functioned in DMC4 SE, where she had a bare knuckle combo when it was out, or like there was so many things that, as a DMC fan, I can be like, I love what you did there. Keep doing more of that. But it's still far from going into that stylistic direction, because I saw people already say, yeah, this is a character action. No, it's not. It's not. Don't have me go on an hour-long diatribe over it. It's an amazing combat system. Let's leave it at that.
Well, if you were to make an hour-long video about that, I'm sure people would watch and enjoy it. So there's a video idea.
I appreciate it.
What do you think, Froob? Do you think Sea Dog is a good style?
Yeah, I do. Mostly for the reasons stated, and also because, again, like unlike Gaiden, where Agent felt gimmicky, even though like this game is extremely Gaiden blueprinted, and even like Sea Dog style is kind of like oh, it's good as gadgets, much like Agent has its gadgets. They work better with Majima's Mad Dog style than Agent does with Yakuza, in my opinion. Like, and they also, again, as I said, there's no insta-win button with the goddamn cigarette. Actually, I'm not sure if we mentioned it. The Dark Instruments, you get one for free.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
part of the story. Fight a bear. Have fun.
Right.
They're an interesting kind of. How do I put it? Like, not insta-win button, but a thing that can help like do a lot in a fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I didn't have, I'm glad they do give them to you as well, because if I didn't have the final one, the parrot for the end of the Pirates Coliseum for that very last tournament, the super boss one, the last one in like the third category of tournaments, I wouldn't have been able to pass that. Praise the parrot.
The parrot is really good, yeah. Also, there was something that I wanted to mention about Sea Dog. What was it again? Oh yeah, the closest thing to a one button, and even then debatable, but the flintlock hold.
Oh yeah, God, that's strong.
Yeah, he gets super quick heat generation, and there's a heat action behind it as well that attacks how many? Like 5 enemies, I think.
Yeah, when you use it after you've fired the full power shot.
And if I'm not,
it's 4, but like 6 enemies are in the heat action for some reason.
The interesting thing as well is it drags forward the strong enemies in the fight towards that. Yeah, like most of the time.
Well, yeah, I think it's because it's a thing since Judgment, I swear, where it will, when you do a multi-person heat action, it targets the enemy with the most health, the enemy with the least health, and then someone random.
Yes.
With like the 3-person ones. That's what I feel like it's always done since then.
Interesting.
I think you're 100% right with that.
I think my least favorite part about the style might be the hook. Because, like...
Really?
Here's the thing. The hook has a lot of, like, potential, but I find myself using that the least. I use it for the heat action, pretty much. That's about it.
Oh. I use that all the time. On Amon, especially, because he also had the hook.
I never really used it.
Maybe I need to practice a little more with it and see what I can do with it, because honestly, I haven't done much of that. Like, I just use the pistol and the sword slashes. Yeah, go on.
The hook has,
like,
DMC4. The hook has a really good utility move where you can actually just get behind an enemy with it, and it's so good for bosses.
Oh yeah,
against bosses.
Yeah.
It's basically leapfrog, but
yes,
you can basically go wherever you want.
Yeah.
And the dive attacks you have with it, like, take out most normal enemies, like, really nicely.
Yeah.
There's also the ring you can get where, like, if you use it on a down enemy, you pick them up and you slam them back down.
Yep.
But there's a hilarious thing that can happen where if you're halfway through picking them up and you get hit, they just go to space.
I need to try that.
It's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
There's so many good rings here.
yeah. I love the ring system. We should probably talk about that soon. I just wanted to say the upgrade system. I'm just kind of disappointed that you also need like a second currency, but like, I guess it's whatever.
It's Gaiden.
Yeah, it's Gaiden.
The exact
It is,
same
it
as
is.
Gaiden.
Yeah, except
this.
the slight difference is that you can't spend those points on anything except for skills, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
compared to Arcane points, you can get some treasures. But
With
I
the
sort of
Arcane shop,
thought
yeah.
it's much more like XP, and like your pirate rank is your level.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you get XP and money, and that's how you upgrade it. But it is literally guidance.
Yeah.
I honestly hated that addition. Like, I could excuse it in Gaiden as kind of a, oh, Zero's anniversary is close, and we used money there, and you have
Yeah.
another system. But here, with the whole Pirates level thing, I didn't do much of the exploring until Premium Adventures, so I was basically playing with a
Yeah.
very, very toned down combat system, because it's like, either give me regular experience or just money. Don't do the whole dual currency again.
Yeah. The saving grace, I guess, is that the game does just have New Game Plus, but still,
Yeah.
like, some of the abilities being, like, progress gated, I don't think is a good choice.
Yeah.
It's also funny how when you get the max rank, I'm pretty sure the only upgrades that it locks are the 2 counters, right?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Which I would have liked that, a bit earlier, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
It's wild because like when I asked like you and Leon when you came in during my playthrough if you could get them to work because I couldn't get them to work in my casual playthrough. I did once, like towards the end, like in was it? I think it may have actually been against Amon.
I tried it a couple times. I think it did work for me.
I'm pretty sure you can even, maybe not the Sea Dog one because you have to guard, but or
Yeah.
maybe you can. I swear you can counter the guard break attacks, but I swear you can also counter like deadly attacks as they're called.
Yeah.
The ones you have to do more reversals on, but I don't know. The Sea Dog counter is hilarious as well because it's just like if you miss the timing, you're still blocking.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's so weird because it worked for me when they invited me to the pirate ship last month, but during my entire casual playthrough, I just couldn't get into work at all. It's so stupid.
There's also the ring system. I love that system so much. It's basically like the equipment, but I don't know. There's just something about it that's so neat compared to the equipment system, like having all these cool designs.
The two like interesting things is some of the rings you can only put on certain fingers,
Yeah.
which means that you have to like make compromises to get your preferred setup. But the other thing that's cool is that they have actual like abilities. Like one of the ones you can get where you can throw the cutlasses and it has like a different trajectory. It says it just makes them just go flying for like an hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it does. So there's cool stuff like that.
Yeah. They don't have rings that eliminate encounters, do they?
I hope they do. Every single RGG game needs an option to turn off enemy encounters.
I know,
I'm dead
dude.
set serious.
I-
Like
Yeah.
a Dragon, I love it for that.
I don't think there is.
Man.
And
we
yeah,
need
I fully agree. Why did they remove that? Why did they remove the,
It's like-
I don't
the
know.
amulet from Infinite Wealth?
For YouTube, for me, it's so easy. But like, just trying to get like 100% completion, trying to do mini games, something like that, you're just constantly interrupted by like dudes trying to fight you. I just want even just a toggle,
Mhm.
turn off enemies, boom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, surely the next game is gonna take care of that, but we'll see. Yeah, I know. I feel you guys. So we didn't talk too much about the ship battles and the sea exploration. I just wanted to say the islands, the Devil Flag story. I actually did like those. The idea of also like going around recruiting people, like it's nice. I don't mind it. What do you guys think of all of that? Let's go with Snowiest again.
I'm gonna be honest, I've barely done any of it, and it's mostly because like I did a bunch of the side content before beating the game. I didn't completely skip it, but I wanted to do it in Premium Venture, and I haven't gone around to it.
Okay. What about you, Gokudoni?
Oof. I loved all of it, but I keep thinking back to the fact that I didn't upgrade any of my stuff during the critical path, and then when I came into Premium Adventure, it's like, holy shit, you can fire coconuts and lasers, and you can actually boost more than twice.
Yeah.
It's like I already enjoyed the combat, which should say something, because imagine doing Queen Michelle with only one row of people on your crew, that type of stuff, and basic cannons. I died so many times. Already then I was like, okay, maybe this is poorly balanced, but it's challenging. And then when you actually get more of the upgrades and more of the people here, the devil flags became one of my favorite parts of the playthrough. Not just because of the treasure aspect and the final treasure, which we're gonna get to probably, but just the whole loop was so fun that I literally got every single treasure that you can get off an island. Now the only thing that's remaining is the situational ones in Hawaii, which I intend to get after I get the platinum. So loved all of it.
Hell yeah. And what did you think about all of it, Froob?
I like it. It's simple, which I think is a good thing and a bad thing. One thing I really love about it was the fact that, you know, there is a visual and audio cue for, you know, if a ship is like in range of like being hit by your cannons or like whatever you've got on the side of your ship. So like even if you're like concentrating like driving forward, you know, oh, I hear that sound, I can hit my button. I can like fire this off and I don't have to like worry or think about it. I do think, again, like we were saying earlier, like I wish there was a little bit more like weapons. I wish there was like a little bit more depth. If there's one thing I kind of wish, I kind of like, I know what the point of the first mate is because it's for their very specific like upgrade thing. Why can't the first mate take over the ship for a second whilst you're repairing it? Would that make it too broken? Like, you bastard.
I don't think so. I mean, if the enemies have those homing rockets, that's not OP at all. Like, freaking give us that chance at least.
Maybe it was just programming the AI that was difficult, or they didn't want people to just spam the RPG all the time while, I don't know, Kibo was driving. But still.
I do like that there is not a risk, but there is a bit of a risk to just, you know, having to, you know, smoke screen up and get your people back on their feet, and, you know.
Yeah.
But it does make the whole RPG thing, like, when would you use the RPG? Like.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only window that I think is efficient is like, if you use the smoke screen, heal somebody, and if you still have time, then like that might be a good time.
That's the only times I use them.
Yeah, same. I don't know if I want to like say that I don't like how kind of tedious it might feel sometimes in like the intense battles. Like when you go into a difficult battle, like ship battle, and like you get multiple crewmates injured multiple times as well. It's like, man, I gotta stop and I gotta run to them and I gotta come back and then I gotta fight. Then you know what I mean? Like it gets a little much sometimes. But I mean, I think it could be worse, but it also could be better.
I never bothered with any of it. Like, genuinely, I just didn't need to. Once I got the upgrades, it was just like, oh, someone is feeling queasy. Huh? Tough shit. I still want.
Actually, I had one crew member get injured the entire time I played. Granted, I haven't done I have done a few of the Devil's Flags, right?
Yeah.
Yo, Froob,
I've done a few of them, but that's it.
You brought up the idea of like the first mate doing something. They could have assigned them to revive like fallen crewmates, maybe.
Yeah, that would be nice. Like, like take a little bit of time to do it rather than be instant. Like, if you wanted to do it. But...
Yeah, it would have been something.
It would be useful, you prick.
We got 4 maps, so Hawaii, Medlantis, Rich Island, and Nele Island. Now, Nele Island is bare bones as hell. It's like only for story purposes, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rich Island is also very, very small. It has a few things at least, but still. The main attractions really are Hawaii and Medlantis. I really like Medlantis. Like, the place looks cool. Really reminds me of Fist of the North Star because of like how kind of... It looks kind of post-apocalyptic. It has a very unique design compared to like your usual Yakuza district as well. So I can give it that. Hawaii is the same as usual. I mean, it's just like Infinite Wealth. It's the full map, so you might be wondering like, oh, how do they make use of the space? They scatter a lot of things basically, so you can do like a lot of exploring. But yeah, is there anything you guys want to say about any of the maps, Snowiest?
Okay, why genuine question. I know he's lost his memory. I mean, he's never been there, but
Uh-huh.
why is there fog of war still in this game? Like when the map is like blacked out in Hawaii and you have to walk into a spot to clear it. Why is that still a thing? You have a phone, Majima. Just look up Google Maps. Boom. It shits me off so much. I was so glad that when I played Lost Judgment, get to Yokohama, check the map,
Hell
and then
yeah.
this game is like, no.
Yeah.
No,
Agreed.
fair.
Yeah, fair. What
Like
about
at
you?
least,
Go on.
sorry, just at least just make it. If you don't want me to instantly go over to like the complete opposite side of the map and do something that you don't want me to do, just make it at the very least that I have to walk to a taxi to find it. Don't just hide everything else.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah, I get it. Like, after Infinite Wealth, it does just feel tedious, because, like, you've already seen it all.
Yeah.
What do you think, Gokudoni? Like, any of the cities, anything you want to say at all?
Well, I mean, to keep it brief, I actually enjoyed Hawaii more here than in Infinite. And this could just be the fact that you also have a lot of treasures, more verticality in the exploration.
Yeah.
Or, and I might just be imagining this, but it felt like Majima walked faster than Ichiban. I have no idea if this is factual, but it just felt faster because to me, I remember in Infinite where Hawaii dropped and I was like, I couldn't be bothered to walk by foot. The Street Surfer, I hated it. I barely used it because it was always limited battery life and it was always out of fucking battery.
Yeah.
And so I just jumped from taxi to taxi. But here, between the chats that you have with Noah and someone, especially the treasures, I walked around a lot more and it felt more intuitive. But maybe that's just because I obviously know the map now from having played Infinite. Also, Atlantis, beautiful. I also like the Colosseum quite a bit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, the other thing, just to extend your point, sorry,
go on.
is that there's no like encounters, and then also areas don't get blocked off because the enemies are too strong. So that's another reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
What do you think of the places to see for?
Thematically, I like them. I don't mind that they're not too big in terms of Madlantis and Rich Island. I have a issue with the frequency of fight spawns in them.
Yeah.
Might be
yeah.
that might be speedrunner me talking, because fights in this game are pretty fast, but there's no way of dealing with them. So the fact that Madlantis and Rich Island, which are two new places, are, pretty short, extremely narrow.
Yeah.
And they just have a whole bunch of fight spawns is just like, yeah, not a fan of that. But I do like the places themselves. I do think they're laid out quite well. Apart from maybe the gambling games for like poker and blackjack just being slapped on the side next to Dunghill.
Yeah.
Great name, love that name. But there's a nice spread of like, like because there's no batting center on Honolulu, we can put it here, like it works here. It's a new way to do it as well, which is fun. Like it's a different like thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. Like I know Rich Island isn't supposed to have a lot, but it has Yogoro, Animal Kingdom, which is kind of nice to come back to every so often.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I think they're decent, but like considering they're not supposed to be like main maps, like every mainline game in the series, pretty much bar 4. Like I think they do a good job of what they need to do.
Yeah.
Nelly Island, I kind of wish there was like one extra place to explore, and not necessarily like taken from like the Infinite Wealth like maps of Nelly Island, but kind of like that intro one, like where you have the first Palicana fight, like the dock side.
Yeah.
But the other problem that I have with that, and like I tell myself this is, what would I put there? There's nothing that you would put there. Like it'd just be a wasted area.
The only
So
thing you
kinda
can put probably is like the resources, like the bugs, the yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
Golf. Make it a golf course.
True. Then there is also like obviously like when you go to like on the ship, there's some islands. Like obviously the islands they're not procedurally generated, but they're obviously using like kind of the subterranean method of like the same assets and then just make the maps themselves. But there's also these small little islands that don't have any treasure, they don't have any fights, they just have a whole bunch of bugs and stuff. I kind of like that,
Yeah.
It's kind of like you can come here, you can get some more like supplies and stuff. And it's nice.
They respawn pretty quickly as well, which is good if you really want to go
Yeah.
in on farming.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say, I thought Rich Island might have been Dondoko 2, and I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, when the
Yeah,
game was
true.
originally announced. Yeah.
Yes. Dondoko was nice, but I definitely could go without a sequel to it.
I disliked Dondoko due to the fact that you can't skip it.
Yes.
Like I know that's harsh, but it is
Yeah.
20 minutes of waiting.
It
in
is.
New Game Plus.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Mhm.
Like RGG games are very, very good now with Dragon Engine, allowing you to skip cutscenes for if you just want a casual gameplay second playthrough. So to have like a mini game that's just like if you're in New Game Plus and you've already full finished it, there's no reason to interact with it. Then it's like
Yeah.
let's wait 20 minutes. Like
Yeah.
just I don't know, I find it a shame.
Yeah, I get you. And then we have the outfit customization. There was a lot in this game, right? There's so much. A lot of options.
I liked the sets. I like that you could get like a piece of equipment and then just have a set for like the specific ones. Like you've got. It's reused assets again in a good way of like having the jobs from Infinite Wealth, but then having the classics from K1. It's just
Yeah.
your zombie, your idol, Garoni. Like it just makes sense. Like it's easy asset reuse. It's fun because it's like references for the fans. It makes sense. It's good. I like them.
Yeah.
I like there's more stuff to it as well. Like, oh, and the cutscenes, like apart from obviously the CG ones, do have your costume as well. I like that. I got a bunch.
I do like that this also does have hair customization where the first Gaiden didn't. Like, there's just,
Yes.
Quite a bit added to all of it.
Oh yeah.
Right. Is there anything you want to say, Snowiest or Gokudoni, before we go to the next thing about the customization? No?
I like
it's awesome.
the fourth wall breaking shirts that they have of like
I
ABC
hate-
store cross Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
I hate the Obitarian
God,
shirt.
yeah.
Can I say that, like, just up front?
Yes.
Dude, I swear to God, they included that on purpose. Whoever included that. No. Okay, no. Please stop. God damn, dude. And then they have the gal to also add her into freaking ship crewmate, whatever
I
the hell.
wanted to ask that when we got to the sub stories. Like, were you surprised they didn't have a sub story for the Obitarian?
I'm glad. I'm so glad. Like, I know they brought her back, but I'm glad there's no sub-story to her. Because goddamn. But yeah, customization is great. A lot of options. I'm kind of surprised. Well, it's a very small nitpick, but he did have like sunglasses in the Yakuza 0 that aren't in here.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
right.
thought the exact same thing.
Fair.
But yeah, then again, you have like a crap ton of other stuff, so eh.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
there was one nitpick that someone had where he apparently didn't have the Dead Souls pirate outfit. That's
Oh
about
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of
yes,
surprised
yeah,
they didn't bring that
would
back.
have been nice.
Other
Yeah.
random pirate outfits there. Which
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah, if that's one criticism I'd have, it's there's not that many pirate outfits. I
Yeah.
like Sea Dog. Like,
Hmm.
like not just for Sea Dog, but just in general. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with that. And then we have the Coliseum. I think we all want to say this one thing. It's we can't play as the other characters, and that's a big bummer, right?
Yeah.
I
That's-
disagree.
Yeah, I think I heard your take on my stream actually. Go on.
I mean, to keep it simple, because of everything in this game basically being okay, so you saw it in Gaiden. Well, we have more of it here. Therefore, basically rendering a lot of the side content in Gaiden obsolete in a way. So I felt like, okay, let's do something different with the Colosseum here, because you would still be in the situation of, oh yeah, I have all of these fighters, more than in Gaiden, but I still need to level them up just like in Gaiden, so I'm just wasting time to get to a handful of more fighters. And once you do that, it's like, well, the only reason why I would return to Gaiden to do it is to play it with Kiryu's Yakuza style or Agent style. And if that were the case, you could just mod them into Pirate Yakuza and lose any point of it being introduced in that game. So long story short, it's just this game tries to do something different, and I appreciate that. But I think we should have had more one-on-one fights, or any
Yes.
one-on-one fights.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one-on-one fights. I think
Yeah.
that's probably my bigger concern as well.
I just wanted to play as Ichiban and turn like an action-based
Fair,
style.
fair.
Also hilarious that Kiryu, once again, I don't know why they keep doing this. It's like with the Amon fight in Garden. Kiryu has his old dragon style
Yeah, yeah.
as a crewmate.
They refuse
Why
to
do they
give
keep
it.
doing that? Yeah.
And they give Onomichio the Dragon Engine, Dragon Dojima style, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, what happened there?
Genius.
But yeah, aside from what we already said, is there anything anyone wants to add about the Coliseum? I think that's all, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh,
Right.
one thing. I hate that they didn't make the Amon Pirates and Amon boss fight available afterwards. Because it is in the menu when you do the sub-story.
Yes.
But then you just... Or activity. And then they just remove it. It's like, no, keep it in.
Are there,
Yeah.
are there any games where you can like refight Amon?
The Kiwami 2 Coliseum, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
I don't know
well,
why they
technically,
do
yeah.
that. Why do they do that? Why do they, it's just like, here's the cool super boss, you fight him once and that's it forever.
Standard
Yeah.
play time for people who don't have multiple save files. Hi,
Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah.
That's how it's like being an RGG fan. Make like 50 goddamn saves.
Yeah, legit, but they limit it to like 25, cool.
I know!
Also, yeah.
Bro,
God.
come on now. I legitimately probably will type this down here. Hold on. We're gonna talk about quality of life later. Add more save slots. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, either that or a proper here's a boss fight that you fought in the story or
Yes.
chapter select. Anything that was already
Yeah.
in that Souls. Just do that.
Yeah. We have also this bounty system. You can fight like a whole bunch of like boss type enemies, and there's a lot of them. There's 86 of them. So
Yep.
if you want
Jesus.
to, yeah, if you want to get like your fill of boss-like characters, you definitely will with this game, and you get a lot of money out of it too. So if you like the gameplay loop of Pirate Yakuza, you're probably gonna enjoy this a lot. Let's talk about the mini games. So a lot of them are the same, right? Like, oh, gambling is back now, mahjong is back, shogi is back, golf is back. Oh, what's new? But then you have something like the batting center actually getting a fresh look. I really enjoyed that.
I way prefer the new one,
Oh yeah, same.
the old ones.
Same.
Same.
I finally enjoyed batting.
Hell yeah.
I just think it's more game, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's more tactical, even though the UI is actually a lot more simple.
yeah, yeah. I kind of hope they continue this trend. Like, I don't know, just anything, like any kind of minigame. Like, give it a bit of a... spice it up a little.
Fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The karaoke songs, fantastic. Great mix of older ones and newer ones.
Ooh.
Midnight Desire is my new favorite. Like, one of my new favorites.
Same.
It's so good. Actually, on this topic, what's your favorite karaoke song from this game, Snowiest?
Probably the sun at 36.5 degrees, whatever it's called.
Oh, hell yeah. Alright, what about you, Gokudoni?
Definitely Midnight Desire. Like I've had that on repeat since Brent and Carlos played it on RGG's channel, and I'm like, I want to learn how to play this, but then there were certain chords that I couldn't hear in the actual mix, so I'm like, I guess I'll wait for the actual game to drop, and it's still amazing.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna wait for that cover video, though.
Oof, I messed up my guitar. There's so much fret buzz. I would need to fix certain parts. My electric guitar doesn't work anymore.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
What is your favorite karaoke song, Froob?
I mean, of the new ones, Midnight Desire.
Hell
if
yeah.
it's, like the ones brought back, get to the top.
Oh, of course.
Mhm.
It would be Let Me See You Dancing if they allowed us to have that as like a post-game complete karaoke.
Yeah.
Ah.
Really much to sing there, I guess. I love that dance number. It's so good.
Same.
That song is just perfect for it.
Same.
So good.
Yeah. Okay, big one. The Minato Girls Award. Do we have to talk about it?
Yes.
Look,
Well,
I
actually-
haven't done it, so we can just pretend like...
Okay,
Oh
I'm
my
not-
God.
I'm not gonna say too much, but
I've seen the pre-rendered videos, because I, again, went through the game files, and I was like, what the fuck am I looking at?
You haven't seen enough, trust me.
I'm assuming then you just like watched snippets, right?
Yes.
Right. Well, I
I love how you're struggling. Just
Dude, I have not seen anything like it in like I don't know how long. But like,
oh god.
some of it is funny, and the other part is like, why? I don't know.
It threads that needle perfectly between how this can actually make me chuckle or like laugh out loud out of the absurdity, and then regretting why I'm alive. It's one of the two.
Yes. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Well, what do you think, Froob?
It's not for everybody.
That's for sure,
It's
yeah.
very much because it's very much Ryuji Akiyama, the comedian who plays Masaru. It's very much his style of comedy, and it's intentionally supposed to be cringe.
Yeah.
It's intentionally supposed to be, very awkward. There's one or two bits that got a laugh out of me, but it is very, I don't think it's our kind of humor. Like I think like it's very much a Japanese style of humor that just, not that it doesn't translate well, it's just it's not the kind of humor that we have in the West. Like, and I will say this for actual praise. With the live action stuff, I was very much expecting it to go the same way as RGG's usual live action stuff, of just massive fan service towards the women. So I was very surprised when it didn't. Very surprised when it didn't.
I have seen him shower.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
him
what we're
himself.
talking about, yes.
Him himself. But
Bro.
I don't know. Like I didn't like massively enjoy it, and I do think it's one of those things that's not going to be looked back on like well in like the Western community at the very least. But it's like at least they tried something different. But I feel like they should have been a bit more rein in Ryuji a bit.
I think
Nope.
people are gonna look back on it as like a huge meme and nothing else.
No one's gonna remember this. That's the whole thing. They're gonna block it out of their memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, I've seen people who find it pretty funny, and then, of course, like, others who find it so uncomfortable to the point where they just don't want to look at it. So, yeah, it probably will just end up being forgotten.
It is really dependent on your approach to humor. And again, some scenes, like for me, the whole yogurt scene where he was mumbling and stuff and then pretending to drink it, like that was funny to me because it's like, oh, what the hell is he drinking? What the hell? 'Cause I've
Mr.
seen some of that humor in anime series. Sorry, go.
No, the yogurt scene was just like some Mr. Bean freaking like humor.
All of that, like that I could appreciate. But then on the flip side, there's the whole shaking the baby toy in front of the camera. I was like,
God.
someone end me.
That was probably the worst one for me. I don't know.
Oof, but also, oh my, the very last one where you have him doing the sumo build-up and you have the other girl flee in terror. Her face was the only funny part about that.
Yeah, she nailed the viewer's feeling there. I mean, yeah, it's there. I don't know what else to say about this whole thing. Oh, actually, there's one big good thing about it compared to Gaiden. It doesn't
not
take up
Kabare.
as much space.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
It's like half the size, maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. I'll take it.
Like, I genuinely preferred this over Kabare because at least the live action one, it made me so freaking uncomfortable. And this was back when I was single as well. Like, why am I watching this? It makes me feel so weird. And here it's like, no, the object of supposed cringe is another person in the scene, so it makes it slightly better.
Yeah. I guess on the topic of the Minato Girls Ward as well, if you guys want to say anything about the sub-stories, I think I only did like half of them. And I noticed like a bunch of them are just like the tutorials for some of the minigames.
Yes.
So like I don't mind that, but I feel like ideally maybe they should like not make tutorials as sub stories. But what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the fact that we've been sitting for like over 3.5 hours is finally catching up to us.
Yes. I was gonna say I have to go in like 20-ish minutes myself, so like we're probably gonna wrap this up here very very soon.
I gotta go to sleep and wake up in 2 hours.
Oh dear God.
That's
Sheesh.
certainly something.
It's one of those days.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
It is what it is.
Wait, okay. Well, let's talk about quality of life and any lack of that. So, bulk crafting. For some reason, you can't bulk craft materials. You have to craft stuff one by one. It's like, where did things go wrong?
So many people complained about this with Infinite Wealth. It's like, you can add more menus. You're adding more stuff to the game as it is in terms of like making like filler content. You can add one more menu.
Yeah.
Allow us to just like bulk. Even if you have to restrict it to like 10, please just allow us to do it. Like, it's such a pain because like, especially the quality components. It's always the quality components that you're just missing. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like one at a time is just awful. Please just let us do it multiple. Please.
They added like a few cool things, like being able to greet people on the Segway.
That's great. That's great.
Like they take amazing steps like that, but then in other areas, it's like, you know, how could they not have done this?
Ooh,
I mean, a
like,
lot of it is. Sorry, go.
no, you go on.
A lot of it is just transparent busy work. Like, there's a lot of mechanics that are here just because they were in other games. Like, for example, the whole, you can gift things to your crewmates. Why?
Yeah.
Why would I have this? Or specifically with the components, do we really need regular, then the updated ones and then supreme ones? Just cut one of them out. Hell, just have one of them and just increase the amount or something.
Yeah.
Why do we have so many of them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
like.
Go
I
on,
was gonna
sorry.
say, like, weirdly, like, we're going backwards quality of life wise. Like, in Infinite Wealth, like, you have the ability to like press up and down on the D-pad to be able to, you know, buy in bulk, and you don't here, which for a lot of things it doesn't matter because you know you got like 5 potions, blah blah blah, whatever. But you're telling me you want to hold right to buy the 100 eggs at a time? Come on.
Yeah. I do hope they take
it's-
this stuff into account because, you know, it's really not that difficult.
Yeah, like this is why like a lot of this is just Gaiden. Like this game is extremely Gaiden blueprinted. Like all of these things are just stuff from Gaiden that just didn't get updated with the quality of life from Infinite Wealth.
Yeah.
I mean, what if they actually worked on, as soon as they finished the first Gaiden, they immediately jumped into the other Gaiden even before Infinite was done? And it's like, well, we don't know if this works.
It wouldn't surprise me, like, because this is like a second RGG team, right? Like it's
Probably.
It's definitely, yeah, like it's definitely whilst like the main team is working on the mainline games or you know Project Sentry or whatever's next. Like this is a chance for you know the not main staff to just you know, hey, here's Gaiden as a blueprint. Just take all of this, make a game.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Like, I'm waffling a bit at the minute, but it's like it's,
I also have like something I wish they would add as like a quality of life thing. I mean, this is a big ask though. So stuff like, you know, Dondoku in the future. I want to be able to skip that on replays.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
Like if you're gonna introduce big segments like that, allow us to skip it on the next times at least.
Yeah, agreed fully.
Um,
Both casually and as a speedrun.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Something I wanted to talk about. Do you think the lighting is weird in this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too bright, other times it's the opposite. No?
Yeah, I don't
haven't
hate
really
it as
had
much
issue
as
with
others
it.
do.
Oh, wait, all of you played on PC, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I played it on PlayStation, so maybe
I've had
that
people
reason.
on PlayStation also complain in my chat about it.
Hmm.
Like, it's
Fair enough.
there's for some reason it's like you know how like the terminology is like the color black is like crushed. Like it's
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
The cave that we were talking about earlier, the one where you chased Spade Tucker. When we were going in that cave, I couldn't see anything because of the way that they did the lighting. But on the first day that I like played it, I noticed after a while that my eyes were starting to like water and burn when going
Ooh.
around
Dear.
Honolulu, just because it was so bright. But I
Oh,
think
yeah,
it's
they
I think
Owned up
it's
the blooming
intentional,
effect a
right?
shitload.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's intentional because of the fact it's supposed to be like a tropical adventure, right?
Mhm.
Saturation, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do kind of hope they fix that in an update because they are working on some stuff right now, but I don't know if they'll get around to that one.
Yeah.
Add
I
the
think
black
it's a
and white mode.
stylistic choice.
Maybe.
Yeah, it is. It's not a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
The
I feel like I was just gonna say, I think I said this on a stream. In 7 Remake and 7 Rebirth, Final Fantasy, because Unreal Engine, whenever you walk in and out of a building, you just get flashbanged by the sun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I feel like someone at RGG played that and went, "Wow, that looks cool" for some reason, and decided to do that with this game.
Oh,
God.
damn it. Well, I do hope whatever the next game is that they don't have that.
I hope the sun just vanishes. The entire game is nighttime.
Okay, well, this has been going on for almost 4 hours now, so let's wrap this up. And well, is there anything else about the gameplay you guys want to say? Anything at all? No?
I
Yeah.
want to say one thing.
Go on.
The uppercut launcher thing for Mad Dog, when you upgrade it, it says he leaps forward, but he leaps forward like 1 centimeter.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
There you go, that's all I wanted to say. it's so useless.
I wanted to bring up also just maybe one thing. It concerns like general gameplay stuff, but it feels like there's some dissonance in some places, like inconsistencies where, for example, no ground heat action, a singular heat bar, taunting gives no heat, no mid-air style switching, even though you probably would think that would be a thing. But I feel like there's just some things here and there that gave me the impression that the communication within the dev team might not be at the top of its game. I don't know. But I do hope that going forward they do improve upon this stuff, because, like, you know, this game is not unfun by any means, but there's a lot of things that could have been better. To sum things up, is Pirate Yakuza what you guys expected? And if anything, what would you change or remove about it? Snowiest?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun.
Mhm.
There were parts that were definitely better than I expected, like the story, for example. I had a blast with it, like I was saying at the start. And then there are other elements where I, as Lost Judgment's biggest fan, just kind of constantly think, why the fuck haven't they just done Lost Judgment 2? It's not hard. Do it again.
Fair.
There you go, that's my opinion.
Right. What about you, Gokudoni?
I mean, I got exactly what I expected and what I wanted. So the only thing that I would remove is, again, the mandatory side content tutorialization. Just get rid of that and we're good on my front.
Agreed, yeah. What about you, Froob?
Too much filler. Way too much filler.
Yeah.
Develop the characters a bit more, especially the villains. Other than that, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like all I've done is like moan and bitch about it for the last like 4 hours, but I would still give it like a 8 to an 8.5. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like my most absolute favorite by any means, and I actually think I'll probably enjoy it more when I start speedrunning it, and not have to deal with the side stuff.
Yeah.
The times that I do have to deal with the side stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's like when distilled to its like purest like gameplay form, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, same. I think I would still, like I said in my review, I probably would still give this a 7.5 or like an 8 on a good day. Some of, again, the features that I talked about, I kind of wish they were there, but even without those, the game is still really fun. New Game Plus being in helps a lot, making this game way more replayable. And yeah, like, I think this is a really fun Yakuza experience that I think I'll probably keep coming back to again and again. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. So, just want to say to all of you guys, Snowiest, Gokudoni, and Froob, thank you so much, as usual, for joining me and talking about Pirate Yakuza for 4 hours. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And for the viewers as well, thank you so much for watching and always tuning into these videos. I do hope you had a good time. And yeah, with this, I think we are about to ready to just say goodbye for the episode. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.